Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome back, Karina. I hope you're having a good trip out there. We're glad to see you. It's pouring rain here, but it was 100 degrees before that, so I'm sure it's nicer where you are. Okay.
It is a bit cooler in Chicago, yes.
Okay. I'd like to go ahead and call to order this regular meeting of the Killingley Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Commission. And Karina, since you're here, we'll have you start with the roll call.
Okay. Screen's not the greatest, but I see Sandy Eggers,
Here.
Paul Archer,
Here.
Chris McDonald,
Here.
Rodney Galton,
Here.
Rainey Legault,
Here.
alternate member.
Here.
Karina Torrey is present, and I am not sure.
Amy
if
is
that
here as well.
Amy? I thought so, okay.
Okay, and this evening, for voting purposes, we do have all of the regular members here, so the alternates will not be voting this evening. All right, our first item would be adoption of the minutes of the June 1st, 2026 regular meeting. Did everyone have a chance to look at them?
Motion to adopt the June 1st, 2026 regular meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to adopt the minutes of the June 1st, 2026 regular meeting as they were presented. Any other changes or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we do have our town attorney here this evening, and before we start with citizens' participation, would you just like to give people a little bit of a rundown, since it's kind of an emotional situation, and
Understood.
the understanding of how a public hearing works?
Good evening. Good to be here.
Would I make,
Yep.
apologies to interrupt, I just don't know if I make this, I'd like to actually make a motion to amend the agenda. So I don't know if that would be before,
A member can make a motion to amend the agenda at any time, so.
oh,
you can
Yeah, because the
entertain that.
next thing would be after citizens' participation, because we were just gonna have him explain that they could not participate this evening.
Right.
And then the next thing would be the Ryan Company's application.
okay, I'll make my motion now, and then if that's okay, and then the attorney
Okay.
can do his bit. So I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to move application 26-124, which is Project Husky, to the end of unfinished business, as well as move citizens' comment to after unfinished business.
Actually, do you have a little reason why before, see if you have a
I-
second?
Because, well, we only have one other application before us in unfinished
yes.
business, which has been bumped several times.
Yes.
And just to give that the opportunity to
That
get
makes
through,
sense.
I feel that would be a bit quicker than Project Husky, given its scope.
Would you be willing, I think we'd probably get a second if, would you be willing to move application 1627 to immediately after citizens' participation? Because that gives them an opportunity to discuss anything that's not been in public hearing.
Yes.
Is there a motion to that effect? A second?
Sure, I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to amend our agenda to move application 261624 to the conclusion of unfinished business, which would put application 261627 of CJJ Adventure LLC to the first item of unfinished business. Okay. Rodney?
Nay.
Paul?
Just make sure you turn your mics on when you vote.
Yep.
Yes.
Chris?
No.
Karina? I assume is yes?
Yes, I made the motion.
Okay, well, that doesn't always, sometimes it's just to get it on the
Yeah.
floor. Actually, so I'll break the tie, and I would vote yes and move that up so long as citizens' participation came first.
Actually, Madam Chair, that motion would be defeated because it requires a 2/3 majority to.
It does to amend
change.
it?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Now we'll have you continue speaking.
All right, good to see you tonight. I've been here on many planning and zoning commission meetings involving the same application, and so I know a lot of the faces that are in the room. One important distinction here is this application on your unfinished business, the Ryan Company's application, the Husky plant, that is been the subject of a public hearing. All right, and if there are any appeals, either by the applicant if there's a denial, or by a member of the public if there is an approval, it's going to be based on a record that's meant for what happened during the public hearing. And the only thing you can consider in rendering a decision tonight is what happened during the public hearing. So for that reason, you have to be very strict. Citizens' participation could comment on other items, but people cannot comment, be allowed to comment. They'd be out of order. You should rule them out of order, and if they continue to speak, you should ask them to leave, and then if not, you'll have to postpone the meeting, et cetera. Because in order to protect your deliberation, whether it's an approval or a denial, that process has to be protected. The public hearing is closed. All the evidence you can consider now is in. You can't consider anything else. So with that, would ask the public to please honor that. You're not allowed to comment on that application during citizens' participation. And if you attempt to, you'd be called out of order.
All right, thank you. Just so that everyone knew how that works. So then we will open it up to citizens' participation, and that would be for anything for the board that does not have to do with items that were in public hearing, such as the Husky project. Would anyone like to speak? And your name and address for the record, Al.
Al Dufresne, is that on the mic?
I think
You can hear
it's
me
on.
pretty good? There
Yeah.
we go. Al Dufresne, 148 Pond Road, Old Killingly Pond, we're discussing. I just wanted to get it out there that the pond is down. It's probably the lowest level. But there are wells on Dam Road that are dry. I've inspected them. These people, it's very frustrating for me because they don't really want to, they don't say anything about it. I checked Mr. Merchant's well. He lives in Massachusetts, and his well is right, the foot valve is about this far above the well, in there. They're dug wells. And then there's maybe 5 or 6 other wells. Wendy's well, I guess Mr. Buck Carlton's well is dry. I'm getting it out there. They need to speak up, these people, for themselves, really, what it comes down to. And also with the application for the diversion permit with Wish and Deep, what they're doing now is you probably know, they're unblocking the low-level outlet pipe on the dam. There's debris in front of it, and so they're bringing in a small excavator to clean that out. So then they can inspect the pipe, and the pipe needs to be inspected to see if there's any kind of issues with that low-level outlet pipe. And so anyhow, what they'll do is, I guess they're gonna raise the water level up 4 feet after the pipe is inspected and they lower that gate down. Why they're bringing it up 4 feet, I'm not sure. Nobody told me why. And it's gonna create some other issues. We're not complaining about water being raised up, but the end of the day, the goal is to drain the pond down on a permanent basis by removing the low-level outlet controls. That is the ultimate goal of Wish. So, so bringing up the water level 4 feet, it kind of causes a little issue because we had to get the fish out of there. They had the Department of Fisheries, Deep Department of Fisheries. We had to get netting, and Justin and the man from Deep had to get them fish back out of there. So now when they raise the level up again, it's actually going to cause issues again for us, because I hate to complain about that, but the fish are going to go back into this smaller pond because it's going to raise the water level up. The fish are going to go in there. Then we're going to have to get the fish out of there again. But the ultimate goal at the end is to actually keep the pond down on a permanent basis and remove the low-level outlet control. So when we talk about it, we're talking about raising the water level 4 feet, but really the ultimate goal is to actually do away with the pond. So that's kind of what I have to say.
Okay, and just so anyone else that wants to speak on Old Killingly Pond, just do know that we will be having that on the agenda, and will be a much more interactive. It's not a
Yeah.
public hearing, so we will be speaking on that
Yep.
at the conclusion of the regular business, if you want to
Oh,
stay and
tonight
work
you
on us
mean?
with that.
Yeah, I got you.
We're
All
hoping
right.
to.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
If it's not midnight, we're hoping to. Okay. Anyone else? And as I said, Old Killingly Pond we will be addressing later this evening. Okay, is that it? Yep.
Just to clarify, will there be public? Any public discussion on Killingly Pond?
I would assume that when we get to that point, if it's not midnight, typically we would suspend our rules and have some interaction and try to start
Okay.
developing a plan to get to the state.
Thank you, that was my question. Thank you.
Isn't that pretty much everyone's consensus, Karina?
Yes.
Yes, we want to get as much input and try to get that rolling.
We need his name and address.
Oh, yes, we do. You
Jim
need,
McDonald, 548 Valley Road.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. If that's it for citizens' participation, we'll move on to unfinished business. The first item is application 26-1624 of Ryan Companies U.S. Incorporated for construction of a new warehouse and distribution center totaling 1,375,247 square feet on a 556 plus or minus acre parcel. Okay, we will need action to bring that to the floor
Okay.
from the commission.
I'd
And
like
we-
to make a motion.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion to deny application 26-124 as amended by the plan set prepared by Langen, Connecticut Incorporated, dated May 18th, 2026, for regulated activities associated with the construction of a new warehousing and distribution center. I can
Okay, and-
continue?
the whole, we do have copies of the whole motion here.
I
Should
can-
should we read that into, do you want to read it? So we should read that into the
Somebody should
record?
read it.
Okay.
Do you
This
want to read it,
motion-
Karina, or do you want me to read it
I-
into the record?
I can read it if you can hear me well enough.
Yes, we hear you well, so go for it.
All right, this motion is to deny based on the application record, expert testimony, third-party reviews, and the commission's finding that the proposed activities constitute a significant activity that will have an adverse impact on the inland wetlands and watercourses on and adjacent to the subject property. Pursuant to the Town of Killingly Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Regulations, specifically Section 10 and Connecticut General Statutes Section 22A-41, the Commission hereby adopts the following findings of fact as the basis of this denial. 1, irreversible and irretrievable loss of wetland resources. Do you want me to read the bullets?
I think we have to. I think we need to have it all in the record.
Certainly. Section 10.2 of the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Regulations requires the Commission to consider the irreversible and irretrievable loss of wetland or watercourse resources that would be caused by the proposed regulated activity. The Commission finds that the project will cause an irretrievable loss of directly filling wetlands 16, 17, 18, and 25. These direct impacts total 23,056 square feet or 0.53 acres, representing 2.7% of the total wetlands of the project site. The Commission finds that the applicant has not met the Connecticut Deep Standard 2 post-development peak flow reduction, which will reasonably likely adversely impact vernal pool 1 and wetland 23. The Commission finds that the direct filling forecloses the future ability to protect, enhance, or restore these specific resources. 2, environmental impacts and injury to the regulated area. Section 10.2 of the regulations requires the Commission to consider the environmental impact of the proposed activity on wetlands and watercourses, as well as the character and degree of injury to safety and health. 3, failure to exhaust feasible and prudent alternatives. Pursuant to Section 10.3 of the regulations, a permit shall not be issued for an application that received a public hearing for a significant impact unless the agency finds on the basis of the record that a feasible and prudent alternative does not exist. The applicant's alternatives analysis focused solely on reconfiguring the 1.37 million square foot footprint. The applicant evaluated Alternative 1, Alternative 2, and Alternative 3, which resulted in direct wetland impacts of about 70,610 square feet, 98,652 square feet, and 54,055 square feet, respectively. The Commission finds that the applicant failed to demonstrate that a feasible and prudent alternative does not exist that would cause less or no environmental impact to the wetlands. Pursuant to Section 10.3b of the regulations, because the application is denied on the basis that feasible and prudent alternatives exist, the Commission hereby proposes on the record the types of alternatives the applicant may investigate. 1, reduced building footprint. The applicant claims that the proposed building size is the minimum necessary to support their operations. However, the commission's peer reviewer, Ty and Bond, established that it is this minimum required building size that necessitates the wetland impacts. Ty and Bond also noted that the other large successful distribution center facilities in Killingly operate with much smaller footprints, such as the UNFI warehouse, approximately 447,270 square feet, and the Frito-Lay facility, approximately 467,520 square feet. The commission proposes the applicant investigate a significantly reduced building footprint comparable to existing facilities, which would avoid the direct filling of the wetlands 16, 17, 18, and 25 entirely. 2, structured parking. The applicant dismissed the incorporation of a tiered parking structure in favor of extensive surface parking simply to minimize employee walking distances to the main entry. The commission proposes the applicant investigate structured parking, which would condense the development area, significantly reduce the impervious surface footprint. The applicant has not met its burden of proof because unacceptable environmental impacts will result, and because feasible and prudent alternatives exist that the applicant has failed to investigate or adopt, application 26-1624 is hereby denied.
Okay, that brings it to the floor if we have a second.
I will,
You guys, do we have a second?
I will second.
Okay, that will bring it to the floor then. Thank you. And actually, can I just have legal clarification? We have 2 members here this evening that are alternates. Can they participate in all or just not vote?
No, the rule is during the public hearing, they can participate.
That's-
I use the analogy of like a jury.
Yes.
If you, during the course of the public hearing, you don't know whether you're going to be called upon to actually vote on the matter. So you're a full participant. But as soon
You're at
as it gets to
deliberations.
deliberations,
Okay.
then a non-seated member should not make any comments or participate in any way.
That's why I wanted to check. Much safer to check than to find out later. All right, I guess we need to start.
Well, I will ask a question of this denial. Is this denial with or without prejudice? Are you saying this application was not complete due to their failure to exhaust feasible and prudent? So therefore, it would be
Yes, sir.
denial without prejudice. So that means they could reapply immediately.
No.
So that would be with prejudice.
Then that's with prejudice.
With prejudice.
But what I'm getting at of this is that this is considered an incomplete application. If she's saying they don't meet these criteria for feasible and prudent alternatives, to me, that's an incomplete application.
Jonathan, we can have staff comment on that.
Just for the record, I have hard copies of the complete application, also
Yep.
digital, because Karina's remote, so that way we can, show it. So if there's any items in the application you guys want to look at, feel free. But yes, to Rodney's point, I believe he's asking whether or not it would be looked at as incomplete. That would be a summary of essentially, I believe, what Commissioner Torrey is looking to do with this motion.
Does anybody else have any thoughts on that?
I'll jump in on one thing as counsel. It seems as drafted, the first 2 items are definitely not without prejudice. It's an actual finding of impacts to the wetlands after applying the standards of the regulations. I mean, whether or not failure to demonstrate a feasible and prudent alternative, if that were the only ground, I would think that someone would be able to come back and fully evaluate the things that have been, this commission is required if they're going to deny and find that that they failed to prove a feasible and prudent alternative. You're supposed to state on the record under section 10.3 of your regs what areas they should investigate. So I think by its nature, if that were the only reason for denial, I think that's inherently a without prejudice because you're advising per your regulations what they should investigate. So part three, I think inherently is a without prejudice problem. 1 and 2, I think, are with prejudice.
So I guess that puts us in a bit of a bind here.
Yes, it does. Would you like the glasses? No. Okay. Is that the general feeling of most of the commissioners,
Well-
that we,
Well, Sandy, I've been through stuff like this, excuse me.
Oh, yeah, I
Madam
know.
Chair.
Yep.
I've been through a lot of stuff like this. And once the town starts recommending things for the application, that's almost always a denial without prejudice. In my experience, I've been in civil engineering for
Forever.
30 years.
yep.
But it can be both. I mean,
So-
because if there were, for
so-
example, if that decision was made, if that decision was made, and let's say there was an appeal, have it, if a court looked at the first 2 grounds and said there was substantial evidence of the record that demonstrated that these environmental, the wetland watercourse resources are reasonably likely being adversely impacted, that's an on the merits decision, not one. If those failed, on appeal, but the court found that you did have a good reason to believe that there are other alternatives, then that would invite. So I don't know that you have to get too tangled up in what parts of this is without prejudice and what is. I think they're inherently one or the other. If you agree with the motion, and obviously members of the commission might not agree with the motion or agree with aspects of it, but I'm not sure that should stop you from being able to deliberate on it and act on it.
Well, we're gonna have to start looking somewhere, and I think it comes down to the question of how people agree or disagree with each of these statements.
So just to interject for a moment, point 3, their failure to exhaust feasible and prudent alternatives, those are the reasons. Those are the reasons that I am giving, that they failed to meet that. To me, that's not incomplete. They felt they did a complete job. They said that to us several times. So these are my reasons for finding that they did not exhaust these alternatives. They weren't even considered, it seemed. So those are my reasons, and I don't, so I don't know that there's really a question on that, if that makes sense.
You see it as a request that was not met.
Correct.
Okay.
But I don't think we made the request to them to,
I don't think we did.
I don't
The,
think we.
the burden is on them to exhaust feasible and prudent alternatives, though.
Because I never heard anything about reducing the footprint,
No.
Never.
No.
or even the structured parking. I never thought.
That is in tie-in bonds.
That is in time bond, yeah. But
But
as a-
we never discussed it.
No, we, as a commission, did not discuss that. We did not recommend that they look at that alternative. So, I still go back to the fact that,
Can you speak up a little more, please? So we can hear you
excuse me?
He's on the mic.
I'm on the mic.
a little more loudly. Thank you.
I'm on the mic.
I
So,
know you're on the mic.
so I still, in my opinion, it still puts me back in that mess when I look at this motion for denial.
Okay, so that goes to the second page, back to questions of whether it's with or without prejudice. You still have the first page, which would basically make them fatal flaws to a certain extent, if that would be the term you would want to use. But do we agree that those are actual issues?
Right, I guess that's the question going forward.
Yes.
For the first 2 items.
Yep.
And frankly, I don't agree with some of these assessments that are made in this denial.
The only thing I have a problem with, Karina, is the fact that what we're doing here is pretty much what we do with every application. I think what tends to happen with everyone is the concern because of the size. The size is, the magnitude of it is mind-boggling. But every application that comes, it seems like we work through them to see how it can fit. That's the only difference. What about you guys?
Karina, if they were to fix any of these, what would it take for you to maybe change your mind on this?
I don't know how to answer that other than to say there's going to be a loss of wetland resources. That is something that we as a commission are set out to protect. And so I'm not really sure how to answer that. I mean, there's also, the whole wetlands mitigation and, it's like 1 to 1.42 ratio, but I mean, there is also substantial evidence behind that that's not always successful. So when I say there's irretrievable loss of wetland resources, that's true. Paula, I'm sorry, I can't really answer your question.
Oh, no, you don't.
You did.
Paul, just make sure you turn your mic on so she can hear you.
What are you thinking? Yep, go for it, Chris.
I'm totally for Karina. We're to protect wetlands and save wetlands. So I'm backing her 100%.
All right, then, I think it's basically a question of, is there any other comments on this motion? No?
Can't.
No. Okay, no other comments? Any other comments, Karina?
I mean, there are other things that probably could have gone into this, but I really believe this was the kind of the crux of the motion to deny.
All right.
I
Then,
would like to make a motion.
well, we have a motion on the floor. So I guess we'll go ahead and vote on the motion.
We gotta get a second first.
There was a second. He seconded it
was a
so that we could bring
second.
it to the floor.
Yep. Nay.
Nay.
Nay. Nay.
Just want to,
This is a motion to deny.
I don't want to deny.
Madam
You
Chair,
do want to deny. Oh,
if I may, we do have,
Like roll call?
we have a member that's remote. We should be doing roll call.
roll call, sure, okay. All right, Karina, you want to do the roll call vote? Or do you want Jonathan to? Is it easier for Jonathan here?
I can do it, it's fine.
All right, go for it, Karina.
All right, Sandy Eggers,
No.
Rodney Galton,
No.
Paul Archer,
No.
Chris McDonald.
No.
Karina Tori, you may
Yes.
have misunderstood, okay.
A vote
A vote
no
no
on this motion
is
is
to
to
deny the
reject the
motion.
motion to deny.
I rescinded my vote to yes.
That's what we thought.
Okay.
Okay,
And Karina Tori was yes.
okay.
I make a motion,
So this motion does fail, 3-2.
based on the third item in the first motion, failure to exhaust feasible and prudent alternatives. I would like to make a motion to deny without prejudice.
Deny without prejudice? Is there a second to that?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to deny this application without prejudice due to a lack of more information on
Lack
feasible
of
and
feasible and
imprudent.
prudent
Feasible and
alternatives.
prudent alternatives.
Okay, I guess that, and there's a second. So now we're at this motion.
Cindy Eggers.
But let's just say, let Rodney just explain what he's going at.
So it's
Apologies.
essentially what I said for the previous motion, right?
Yep.
I think the fact that we have included number 3 in that first motion opens us up to a denial without prejudice. This allows the applicant to address items and come right back with a new application. And I think, to me, given the fact that we give them recommendations, I think that's the only way that we can go with a motion for denial here, without prejudice.
That makes sense. Anyone else have questions on that? Yes, I can.
Just speak on the mic, please.
There's a moratorium on it, on a distribution. So that would mean that what you're proposing, that you're thinking, is that they could correct this and come right back in front of us. They can't do that
Right, with the moratorium. in
with the
place.
moratorium in place.
And the moratorium is now in effect.
The moratorium becomes effective July 20th.
So they would have time to get an application in.
Rodney, would your motion include my first 2 points?
It would not. Like I said, I don't agree with some of the assessments in the first 2 motions. So it would not include those.
All right, so they would only have a matter of 2 weeks in order to submit another application. Does that sound correct?
And the town attorney can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the applicant would have to resubmit to both planning and zoning and to wetlands in that scenario to reset the time frame.
Maybe not, but I don't think we need to cover that right now.
Okay.
It depends.
All right, I guess we vote on this motion.
Cindy Eggers,
Yes.
Rodney Galton,
Yes.
Paul Archer,
No.
Chris McDonald,
No.
Karina Torrey?
Yeah, I don't like being the swing vote. Yes.
Okay, so at this point, this application has been denied without prejudice due to a lack of information regarding reasonable and prudent alternatives.
Yes.
And that's it for that project for this evening. Okay, next item is application 26-1627 of CJJ Adventure LLC.
Yes, I am here. Hello.
Are you awake? I bet you didn't think you'd hear from us yet.
I did not, no.
Jonathan, did we get new plans on this one?
We got new plans last month, but now if you recall last month, the applicant asked for a continuance because it was during a much longer public hearing.
Yep.
So I have the hard copies. I can also put up the digital. We do have new plans.
Yes.
Could I get a hard copy?
Yep, just hold on 1 second.
Yeah, I'd like one too, Jonathan, please.
We're gonna share the glasses, we can share the copy. if we gave you guys 3 months to submit, you'd do it the week before.
Still wouldn't be
Oh,
ready.
yeah.
Okay, Amy,
So I believe
okay.
those are
you
the
ready,
most
Tom?
current hard copies. Just give me 1 second so I can get the digital up as well.
Yes. And Jonathan, you got from Dan Blanchett with the mitigation, the wetland mitigation one.
I believe so, yep. So let me just
Yep.
share that.
Trying to calculate out how much actual uplands do we have?
None.
None, you know that.
There's no,
You visited
there's
the
nothing
site.
except
But I'm just talking, I want to know, I want an actual area. Tell me what the actual area is.
okay, actually,
It- So those should be
it's
up.
a quick rundown, and he was saying, how
I
much
don't-
actual uplands area do we have
Ma-
percentage-wise on this?
So, Madam Chair, through you, I don't know if you want to remind the room that, we are still conducting business here.
Yeah, we still have, you guys, we still have a regular meeting going on. Okay.
So, is Dan on tonight as well, or is it?
I don't know. I don't see him now.
Yes, I
I
am.
thought
Oh,
I
there we go.
heard you.
So, Dan always has the best mic in the room. Dan,
I just
if,
had one question too. What is the actual percentage of upland soils on this property as opposed to, just, just for a point of reference?
Paul, you
I
were
mean,
asking
so-
about the whole property though, right?
No.
You were asking about Lot B and Lot A,
A,
right?
yeah, Dan, on each one of those, on lot B, out of, how much?
Can we just pause for a minute?
Hey, you guys.
We're trying to have a meeting here. Can you please keep it down? Thank you. Sorry, Paul.
Oh, it's okay. So Dan, what my question is on lots A and B, what is the square footage of uplands you have on B and A compared to wetlands?
Absolutely. So you can see each lot that we're proposing is roughly 2.5 acres in size. And as you can see, it is mostly wetlands. Most of the proposed construction is located on an isolated hill that's completely surrounded by wetlands. So if each lot is 2.5 acres, I would say maybe a half acre, 0.75 acres is upland.
And what zone is this in?
This is in,
I think it's RD.
this is in rural development zone.
So that's 80,000 square feet, okay. So
Yes, sir.
you don't have 80,000 square feet of uplands on either one of those lots?
No, sir, not of uplands, nope.
This is probably, Jonathan, this is probably the most wetlands we've seen on any thing that's come in,
As far as percentage-wise.
percentage-wise, yeah, seriously.
I'll agree with percentage-wise.
Oh, yeah, I mean, oh, no, I mean, it's not, there's one little hill.
And I think to Commissioner Archer's question, so the zoning regulations don't differentiate in terms of like usable space versus not, in terms of calculating that, the minimum lot size in the rural development zone. Some towns do. Some towns go to that. They say no wetlands, no ledge, you can't count certain items. The only area that we cannot count is if you have a rear lot, the access strip is written into our regulations. That's more zoning than it is wetlands, but just to maybe provide a little clarity to the question.
this one, it just seems like the two houses don't have any room to even walk out of.
Did he give us pertinent alternatives?
I would ask Dan to go through that. The updated plan set, I believe, do show some proposed wetland mitigation areas as essentially offsetting of the proposed direct fill, which was not present in the initial application. So that would be somewhat of an alternative to the overall design. But as far as other items, I talked with the applicant or with the applicant's representative, and we had discussed, I guess originally, they were looking at a much larger subdivision or different layouts for the subdivision, but I don't believe all of that is before you tonight. But I think, Dan, you did send me some of those if the commission is interested.
I did. Originally the applicants were looking at getting, 10 to 12 new lots here. But due to the propensity of wetlands and steep slopes and other construction challenges, I recommended that we start small and start with just 2 lots. Again, I don't have anything signed and completed and stamped and submitted, but I had emailed Jonathan a couple different alternatives that we had looked at that would have a much bigger impact.
There's a bigger uplands here with a small wetlands crossing to get back here. Instead of here.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
property
right.
does not have much road frontage, but it does extend very far west from the road.
Dan, on one of the maps that we have here, get the right number so I can find it.
204.
2 of 4?
Yep.
You've got one tiny crossing here to get to like the only uplands on the whole property.
Dan, this is on the north side of the property. It looks like there seems to be.
Outside.
What's that?
I think it's the southeast side.
Correct, yes. Actually, right there. But anyways, it looks like to be more usable area there than where you're doing it.
Yeah, I agree with Paul on that one.
Yeah,
There
you got
seems
that
to
one
be-
crossing compared
Right,
to,
there seems to be a narrower spot that you could cross the wetlands. And the other question I have is, did a soil scientist look at the area where you're proposing your wetland replication? Or wetland mitigation, as you call it?
Yes, sir. Yes, I consulted with our soil scientist, Joe Thoreau, to come up with the wetland mitigation plan. We're proposing, again, the proposed driveway has about 3,400 square feet of wetland disturbance, and we're proposing to mitigate that by creating approximately 3,500 square feet of new wetlands.
but we hadn't seen this map, I don't think, before.
No, I don't think so. And so.
No, you did. These maps are substantially similar to stuff that we had submitted, back in March or April.
Did Joe Thoreau look at your proposed wetland location, and did he recommend perhaps an alternative area for the wetland crossings?
No, if we're gonna build on that isolated hillside, we are crossing the wetlands at the narrowest point. If we were to build more towards, I guess, the west or the left side of the existing house, then we get into some issues with frontage for zoning.
And we would probably need a variance for the frontage is one of the biggest issues with the site. The way it's set, at least the way it's kind of cut out right now.
Okay, we have asked applicants if they would seek a variance to disturb fewer wetlands in the past. Is that something that you would consider doing?
I don't understand. What's the question?
In the past, this commission has asked applicants to seek a variance in order to disturb less wetlands. Is that something you would be willing to do?
I would be able to consider it. I'd have to see, at least to understand what what that would propose, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'm always open to look at different ideas.
Yeah, that's not something the applicant and I had, been requested to think about in the first 3 or 4 meetings.
Yeah.
So,
Jonathan,
We did look at cluster development originally, just to do as little disturbance as possible, but the way that all the wetlands are set up in the front of the property, I guess it didn't make the feasibility, I guess, wasn't. It's tight up there, so that's the biggest challenge. I think even when did the walkthrough, yeah.
and this is a zoning question, how many lots are they allowed off a private drive?
I believe the maximum is what, 5? 5.
But
5 through subdivision.
that's correct, 5, and that's what we're currently proposing, would be a driveway to 5 dwellings. 2 duplexes plus the existing house.
Yeah, it goes
Well,
by the
then why
units.
wouldn't
Yeah.
you go over to the uplands?
I think we've crossed.
If he's gonna get 5,
So, Paul, what you're saying is,
If we could do one long,
right here.
I mean,
Ronnie, same
it's
thing, he's gonna
limited.
get 5
right, that's,
here.
yeah, so what you're saying is, I don't have a laser pointer.
So, just to provide a little context, as you move deeper into the site towards Wheaton's Pond, that is an area that is identified under the endangered species stuff
it
as
is.
an area of concern. So as you go a little
So
deeper,
that keeps us out of there.
I can pull up the exact extent of that, but I believe, and Dan, correct me if you're wrong, I believe that was something that was discussed at one point, like submittal. And also the topography gets pretty tough deeper into the site. I don't know if there is a overall showing topography.
No, that's correct, yeah. As we go closer to Wheaton's Pond, there is a natural diversity database. The applicant actually went through a great expense to hire a botanist to conduct a survey of rare plants, which was submitted to the commission. And ultimately, we decided we should try to stay away from Wheaton's Pond.
Jonathan, what's the staff review on this?
I did provide a just very brief memorandum, more so to speak to timeframe, because this application did come at a time when we had some big applications
Yep.
in front of us as well.
Yeah, it
So,
was bad.
That's an understatement.
Yes.
Yeah, it was bad.
And I believe we could, if the applicant would indulge us, if they want to grant an extension, could go all the way to next month. But that would be essentially the end of our time frame for review.
No, if we did
Without,
either,
because we didn't do a public hearing and all
the
that.
way you've
so-
got those, they're mantis systems anyhow, but the way you've got those septic systems right there on the top of everything, if we ended up with either one structure
Right.
or 2 singles, wouldn't we be ahead of the game?
You know,
They're bad no matter how you look.
yeah, I mean, those 2 additional lots are, lots A and lots B are just not great looking.
If I could chime in real quick, we did get a letter dated April 2nd from the town engineer, David Capaccione, and I believe the revised plans dated June 1st do address his 2 comments. Really, only one of them is relevant to the Wetland Commission, but based on other discussions that we've had with the commission, we made some other revisions, such as a wetland mitigation plan. But I do believe we've addressed all the comments by town staff at this point.
folder here. I believe that was part of the previous packet.
And
It should be in the folder, but I believe that was part of the previous packet.
There it is.
Yes, health department.
You can ask him, I believe so.
Dan, do you have,
Oh, go ahead.
Dan, do you have NDDH approval on this?
Yes, sir, I believe we do. Let's see if I can pull up a date for that.
I believe we have all of that. I'm just trying to pull it up. It won't, so bear with me.
It would be in there with Rodney's.
Yeah. Probably in this.
Yeah, I got a approval from DOT March 17th. Plan submitted to NDDH on March 3rd. I'm just flipping through my records here. One sec.
Jonathan, is there any record of the two culverts on 12 ever overtopping? Do you know?
We'd probably have to reach out to DOT.
DOT.
I'm not aware.
I do have, Dan, if you're looking for it, I do have the letter from DOT.
There's no NDDH letter in the file.
We do have it as part of the application. Bear with me. For whatever reason, our upgraded system is not allowing me access to it, so hold on.
Yeah, I'm almost positive we have NDDH approval. I'm trying to flip through my records right now for a date, a letter with a date. I'm almost positive we have it.
And you think we do as well, Jonathan?
I believe so, yes. Just bear with me.
Yeah, I apologize. I could not find their approval letter in my files, but I'm 95% sure they did approve this. If it's a serious concern by the commission, possibly they could make a motion to approve with the contingency that of course, NDDH approval be submitted.
And Rainey, you guys, we're not in public hearing, you guys can chime in. Karina, I think we're all sitting here trying to figure out what to do with this one. This is probably the tightest thing we've ever all seen.
Yeah, and the wetlands, I want to say, I mean, it's everywhere, but where it's going to be disturbed seems to be, I mean, I don't want to put a value on it, but it seems to be a more productive wetland system than where it's not,
Yep.
Yeah,
which I think makes it really challenging.
I would agree. I mean, I think, shifting access down 12 would make a lot more sense. Those wetlands aren't in great shape because of the drainage coming off the road. So they're not in great shape anyway.
Right.
But I don't know if they could get DOT approval for that because you're moving closer and closer to Ware Road.
Yeah, we looked at constructing a totally new driveway closer to Ware Road. But again, the topography is very challenging. There's a steep decline coming off the road. And so we felt it made more sense to try to utilize the existing driveway. Say the proposed driveway where we have it is fairly flat. Coming straight off the road, it's quite steep and would involve more wetland disturbance once we factor in grading.
This is, I mean, there's
I just don't
one
think the
little dry
mitigation is
hill.
adequate.
There's just one tiny, tiny, tiny little dry hill, like an island.
Well, Karina, that's where you live, right? More or less. You live on an island, right?
I got a moat. That's
Well,
why.
But you can attest to the difficulties, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. And that's why I want to say mine is pretty much an unbuildable rest of my lot.
What would the commission like to see in terms of more mitigation?
I don't know that it can be adequately mitigated.
Not for, you're talking about really 4 units going on the tiniest little spot of high ground we've ever seen presented to us. We're not begrudging anyone a home or something, but this is an additional subdivision off another lot with 4 units going into a horribly tiny spot that you have to cross everywhere to, you've got 3,400 square feet of disturbance just to get to the one little knoll.
May I speak?
Yeah, and the reason too,
Yes.
it's just to limit the amount of, to disturb it. I mean, because the only other thing you do is bring in fill, but then you're causing more harm to more disturbance to the wetland to make the yard bigger, in that sense, because it is a tiny yard and stuff like that.
It's crazy tiny. Like, I mean, they step out their door. Amy?
My question is, why are we even talking about this? We're just talking about how to destroy wetlands, or maybe mitigate, or maybe recreate them to accommodate these houses. That's not our job. Our job is to protect the wetlands. I don't understand how this is working.
Obviously, during our site walk, we did not walk west from the existing residence behind the house because we were looking at the wetlands in relation to where this is proposed. But I do think that it might be worth exploring. And again, I know this is short notice. I don't know if we can even ask this with 1 more month's worth of pushing this back. But I can see that the topography does drop pretty significantly behind the house from sheet 3. But again, it looks like there might be space either, before that wetland crossing that heads down towards Wheaton's Pond, or if, depending on what access looks like. I was trying to take a look at the rare plant surveys and see what was there, because if they're more in relation to the wetlands near Wheaton Pond, then, you stay further upland, and you most likely will not be coming into contact with those for, if we want to use the term we've been using tonight, prudent alternatives.
Yep.
I do feel like it might be worth exploring, but I don't know if that's an ask we can do at this point.
Just for direction, I know, and Dan, I think we all need to apologize because you have been lost in the shuffle of the monster application. I mean, it just kind of happened. But
Yeah, I understand.
I think
I understand.
that- I think I speak for many of us when we were just shocked when we went out there on the site walk and probably haven't given you a lot of direction or pointed you in many ways at this point, but it's the tightest spot I think I have ever walked with this commission. What about you guys?
I didn't walk with the rest of the commission.
That's right.
But
But
when
you
I was
look-
out there, I thought I was in the wrong spot. I couldn't believe it. I really
Especially
did.
for 4 houses.
Yes, I really thought I was in the wrong
Equivalent
spot.
to 4 houses.
It's very tight.
I did, Daniel, I did just find from the Connecticut the approval, so I can email that to you if you'd like to submit that in case you still need.
From the health department?
I'm sorry, oh no, you needed the health department, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have the DOT letter in front of me. I don't have the health department letter. I saw it, but I don't have it in front of me.
And I do apologize. I believe we do have the health department approval, but our systems, it's locking me out of it. So I have a file named health department approval for this particular project. So I just can't access it at the moment on
Yeah,
this
one
computer.
house would make a lot more sense. The reality is that wetlands regulations, it's regulated. These things are not prohibited, Amy. They're not prohibited.
Right.
They're regulated.
Correct.
But this is a stretch. I mean, even just one house or one building would make a big difference rather than two of them. You can't even walk out the door.
Cindy, I agree to a point, but if you're gonna disturb wetlands, you're disturbing wetland,
That's true too.
right?
So it wouldn't matter.
Correct.
That's what I was going to say the same thing. If we're going to have a driveway to one house,
You're still gonna.
a driveway to a second structure is
Yeah,
not
you're
really
right.
a big difference.
Big difference.
It's just that the people
It's
that
just the
have to try to live in that,
desirability.
Right.
that's what I
It
was
would-
looking at too.
Yeah, it would just be the desirability more than anything. You know, I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, what's more desirable, what more or not desirable, in that sense.
Would these be full basements?
Uh,
Dan, are these on a slab or?
They don't show footing drains.
They don't, that's why I'm asking.
I think it would probably be like a walkout. I think it would be because of the way that how it slopes, that the front of the house or whatever the orientation is, it would be like a slab or a crawl space, and then it would just be a walkout, just going with the natural slope of the land. So you would have a walkout in the back, because that's kind of how the existing house is, the one that's the 647 Putnam Pike. I think that's labeled as lot 1. That's how that is, because you could see the back of the house where it starts to slope down for the existing dwelling. And so that one has a walkout straight from the basement. So it'd be literally like similar to that. So that this way we're not having to do all that digging over there.
Hey, Dan, one other question for you. How are you proposing to protect the wetlands when you drill these wells? One of the wells, you have it on the opposite side of the silt fence.
Yeah.
In the other well, you're within 5
It's on
feet.
top of it.
You're within 5 feet of a wetlands. How are you going to keep the slurry anyway contained there? Do you have any diagrams or details to help us with something like that?
I don't. I appreciate that comment, Mr. Archer. I would be happy to revise my plans, again, to include additional erosion controls as the commission deems fit downhill of the proposed wells.
I just know we've been on sites with LaFramboise and they won't even drill this close to a wetlands. Due to the fact that, there's no way they can possibly keep the slurry out of the wetlands.
Understood. If the commission has any suggestions or recommendations, I would be happy to incorporate those.
Well, that's the difference if you put just one house. One house, it gives you some room to do some of those things, Rodney.
Oh, the one on lot 1. There's another well, but that's an old one at the beginning of the property.
Just for the record, guys, you got to have a mic on.
Yeah, to me, I'm seeing some issues with the site plan. I believe there's missing grading. I don't see 404 contours wrapping the buildings. I don't see 406, which you're going to have to do if you're proposing slab on grade. So I'm not sure we even have enough room to get the grading behind the buildings.
So I think you're lucky to get one in.
I know typically when we submit plans for a subdivision, they're conceptual or preliminary in layout. We don't always have the exact building plans for what's going to be developed. The buildings could be a little bit smaller, they could be a couple feet bigger, as long as we're meeting the building setbacks.
But Dan,
Again,
I
if the
think-
commission has any specific questions on the
right, I
proposed
think-
grading, I can try to address those.
Yeah, with a site this tight, I think we need to see everything. I think we should see all the grading. If you're gonna use slab on grade, which is what your client said, then those contours have to wrap the building somehow. And if we're already right up to the wetland system, right? So how are we gonna get that grading done? Are we just gonna flatten that hill? I mean, on a site this tight, I think we need to see all the information possible. I understand sometimes, the plans are a little bit more conceptual, but typically the sites aren't this tight, right? So there's room to play with. Here, we don't have room to play with. You are showing wells that are right up against the wetland line, which I don't know of any well truck that could probably get his outriggers out and drill those. So there's some information that's lacking from these site plans that should be included. And, as an engineer, I don't tell contractors how to do the work, right? They're up to means and methods, right? But we can't just throw a well anywhere and say, go do it, right? We can't do that. So I think there's information missing on this site plan that needs to be here.
Understood. No, it is. It's unfortunate. I know the Wetland Commission has been extremely preoccupied, I will say, at the past couple meetings. But again, if the commission has a list of items that they would like to see addressed, I will do my best to address them.
I still just don't think the two buildings fit. I think that so many of those other.
Microphone, Sandy.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't usually have it off. Usually, it would just be, you've got the impacts of coming in, but that is so tight and nothing fits. It just does not fit. So at least the one building would give you some flexibility to at least get a well in
Right.
and a septic system.
If you lost one of the subdivision lots and went with one building, then you would have room to play with. You could show the proposed well just about anywhere, and you could be able to drill it. But where they are now, I'm not so sure about that.
And just for clarification, for the way that the topography is on lot A and lot B, it would be a walkout basement, so we wouldn't do like a slab on grade in that sense. So we would have a full walkout on there. So
Then,
we will
if that's the case, if now you're saying it's a full basement, I see no footing drains, which obviously you're building very close to a wetland. You're gonna need probably a foundation drain and an outlet somewhere. And again, now you're up against the wells and your septics and everything else. So that information needs to be on here.
I'm still.
Yeah, again,
afraid-
if the commission can give me a list of items that they would like evaluated or addressed, I'm happy to take a look at that. So I know we talked about grading around the houses. We talked about moving the erosion controls past the wells. We talked about footing drains. Is there anything else the commission would like to see? I'm happy to take a look at that.
Anything for them?
Again, these are all valid concerns, but they weren't brought up by the town staff, and they weren't brought up at the previous 3 or 4 meetings. So
You did take a back seat, and we're the first to admit it.
I'm happy to take a look at it. These are just new to me.
Right, well, I mean, the good news is you have another month, right, before we need to act on it.
Yep.
Right? So
Correct.
you're gonna have time to work on it. So I say.
Yes, sir.
Work with town staff to get you in the right direction of what we're looking for. And then come in next month with a complete site plan showing all the information that we need.
And Dan, we're happy to work with you and go through, any of the modifications of the items that were mentioned tonight, get them in front of the town engineer, just make sure we're all good on those. But we do need you or your client to grant the extension to the next regular meeting.
Yeah, I think the applicant's happy to grant an extension. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. I feel like I have addressed the comments from the town. Are there any other, questions or concerns that the commission has, just so I don't miss anything?
Did we lose Karina?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
Dan, this is gonna be, I don't know if I've ever heard of it or asked for it. Is there any way that you might be able to call Earl or somebody from a well company to get us a letter stating that they feel in those places a well can be drilled? Because what I don't wanna do is give you an approval, you go
Find out
in,
it
build
can't
the
be done.
driveway, and then come find out you can't drill a well on this property.
I mean, frankly, respectfully, I don't see why that would be necessary. I've seen well drillers come to much more difficult, steep sites. Proximity of a wetland, there's not a steep drop off there. There's no real topography to be concerned about. I don't see why a well truck would have any trouble digging even in the well if I told them to, even in the wetlands if I told them to drill there. It's all relatively flat. I mean, if the commission
just be
wants
a
a
matter
letter, I
of-
can do my best, but I don't see why LaFramboise would have any trouble digging a well.
Maybe
in
I'm the
either
only
of
one,
those
but I still
locations.
think one building would make it all much more manageable.
I agree with that, Sandy. But the other thing, Dan, that you need to look at is probably a temporary wetland crossing to get a drill rig back there. Because
Why?
there's a very good chance a drill rig could get caught up in those wetlands trying to cross that. Because that is a very, very nice wetland, and I would not want to see that all torn up.
I assume the driveway would be put in first and stabilized before we have well trucks going over.
Okay. If that's,
Correct.
if you.
That's
if you-
what we would do,
Okay.
absolutely. So
Okay.
we
Right.
don't have that issue, and then we don't have the well company mad at us that they're stuck.
Right. Okay.
They're and cause a big mess, so no, absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, we don't need the well truck to tip over or anything,
Yeah, I mean, if anything, Madam Chair, I might offer an item to be explored on the well drilling is providing a detail for the installer in terms of at least mitigating, right?
Yep, that makes
In
sense.
terms of E&S. So like, if it's just silt fence, or does it need to be hay bales or a wattle or some other thing? Usually height is important on for the slurry. So like
But it seems like
a
a phone
reinforced
call
silt
to
fence
someone
even
rock
if
without
it's
killing.
needed.
Correct.
But as,
Can you do this?
and then as far as the driveway itself, obviously that could easily be a condition of approval as it relates to drilling of the well, that it would have to go in prior to. So those are all items that are definitely within your guys' power. So if you're looking to continue it to next month, Dan, do you have any other questions for the commission?
Karina, I was wondering, did she have anything else to add? Because she was out there with us that day.
I would like more information on their wetlands mitigation plan. What exactly they would be doing.
Okay.
What, could you be more specific? I'm sorry, what kind of information do you feel is lacking, or you would like to see?
I'd like to understand how it is you propose to replace the wetlands that are being destroyed. Like, what mixes are you using? What the actual plan is, what your implementation will be.
Okay.
Oh, I do see some there. I'm sorry, it was just blown up on the map.
Yeah, so there are some details offered
No, I do see that, okay.
on sheet 4.
Yeah.
The,
Yeah, wait a minute. Dan?
go ahead, Sandy. Go ahead.
Did we all just spot this at the same time? That the proposed wetlands mitigation area is in the middle of the wetlands?
No, the wetland mitigation area is upland that we're proposing to excavate so that it becomes wetlands.
correct.
But
That's not, it's right there.
flags are here.
It's,
This is all
That's all
wetland
wetlands.
mitigation. They're cutting this down.
But it's
We would
in
be
wetland.
cutting down the hillside to create wetlands, intercept the groundwater table, plant some native
Now I see
wetland
what you're
Now, you see
species.
what we mean? It's showing that
Yeah.
it's in the middle of the wetlands.
Yes, you would actually have to be grading inside the wetlands to get that plan correct, Dan.
I'm sorry, say it again?
You would actually have to be grading inside the wetlands to get that mitigation area correct, as shown. Because you're pulling out the 386 contour, which runs through the wetland.
Yep,
And you can see the wetland flags.
yeah, all around it.
Yeah.
The
The other thing that is lacking is, given the fact that you're doing a full basement, and you are right up against wetlands, I don't see any dewatering areas, specifically called out. And again, for something this tight, I think the dewatering areas should be identified. And as well as you're stripping wetland topsoil, according to your mitigation plan, you're stripping wetland topsoil, and yet I don't see an area for that stockpile, which should also be identified on the plans.
Okay, sure.
All right, I think Jonathan has some direction for you, right?
Yep.
A quick
and-
question. Just because of with the mitigation plan, does the commission, just for the potential and everything to create, the 3,400 disturbance to create in the back there, is it the risk kind of worth the reward in that sense? Is that like the opinion that some of the members are thinking of in that sense? Or is it worth it to just leave it completely alone and don't touch it and limit any equipment or anything there to create the wetlands? So is it, just in the sense of like, is the tail wagging the dog in that sense?
Your
where
mitigation
we-
doesn't look like it's gonna accomplish anything. That's just the,
It's minor, yeah, I agree. In the grand scheme of it.
yeah, you're not, yeah.
I mean, there could be, because there is, instead of on the site itself, I mean, there is some additional, there is other wetlands on the property, that maybe it has some more impact for it.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Thoreau and I had several discussions about possibly, trying to rehabilitate existing wetlands, which are, the existing wetlands are significantly overgrown with garbage, debris, invasives, and it was Joe and I's, Joseph's suggestion that we try to create new wetlands as opposed to trying to, upgrade or rehabilitate any existing wetlands as part of our mitigation efforts.
For example, something I'd like bring attention to, if you look on lot 1 again, you'll see that there is a small like RCP pipe, a 12-inch pipe, like as you're heading towards the existing dwelling.
Yeah, under the existing driveway. Yes, exactly.
Under the existing that, it was pretty clogged, and, Quinn and I, we cleaned it out a bit because it's been pretty a dribble coming through there. And those two wetlands kind of connect each other in that sense where water's going through. I mean, that may be a better for the health of the wetlands to, help that out over there than just creating the mitigation, for example. Like, as I look at kind of the whole wetlands area back here, just to help offset, since, because you have some of the piping for the new driveway coming in, and that's kind of supposed, to help with the connection of the flow of the water between, dissecting between, those two. That would help and allow some more water flow, at least from what I can see on this map here. So that could be something else, like rather than doing that mitigation back there, for example.
I don't know. I still
And
say
there
one
is-
building. Maybe I'm the only one, but
Yeah, I think overall you have your homework, right? Like explore some options. We're happy to look at it. In some cases, a one-to-one is not the best case. We have on other applications before, there's one not that far from there, looked at that restoration to address existing impacts on wetland areas that might test hydrically, but just have trash and other debris in there, and just trying to clean those up.
There's nothing saying they can't do both the mitigation area and clean up that area along 12.
Agreed.
Because that area is very dirty.
Would make sense.
I'm sorry, what area along 12 would you like to see cleaned up?
The wetland area alongside 12, there's a lot of dirt in that area, a lot of dirt and debris in that area. And we've asked this before, so you're not the first time that we've asked for a wetland system to be cleaned up as part of the mitigation. So I think you'd have to look at that as well, cleaning up that wetland system.
Okay, so you're asking us to look at cleaning up wetlands within 10 feet of Route 12, 50 feet? What? I'm just trying to understand what you're looking for.
Yeah, I'm not giving you a distance.
Okay.
You're proposing mitigation, right? Wetland mitigation area. Part of mitigation can also mean cleaning up the wetlands. So if there's any large debris along 12, perhaps you want to pull that stuff out of there.
And it's right smack in front of the houses anyhow.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Dan, I have a question as well, because you had mentioned invasives. Is there any plan for invasives? And if so, what is that plan?
No, like I said, the wetlands around here are completely contaminated with multiflora rose, barberry, burning bush. The wetlands are, significantly inhabited by invasive species, and in speaking with my soil scientist, Joe Thoreau, he felt it would do more harm than good, to try to remove those, because they're just going to repopulate from their neighbors. It's so extensive with invasives, it would be very difficult to, really clean up anything and have it be a long-lasting solution. In terms of debris near the culverts, I can take a look at that. In terms of invasives, it's so widespread, I don't think that's an option.
Okay, so just to make sure that I understand in terms of the invasives. So if it is an undisturbed area, wetland area, there's going to be no treatment. The only area where invasives, I want to say, will be removed is going to be in the disturbed wetlands areas.
Correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure I follow along. Okay, thank you.
And Dan, one other thing, could you put notes on there and maybe show it? We would definitely want this wetland placard.
Oh, God, yeah.
Say it again?
We would like to have a note on there or showing us that the wetland gets placard. You get the placards from the town.
Oh, placard, yes, signs posted. Yep, I got you. Yep, that's fine.
I think you're going to have your work cut out for you, Dan. I think you and Jonathan are going to become best friends in the
Yes.
next couple of weeks.
He's got a new focus.
Jonathan and I are already good friends, and I like a challenge.
Last bit of homework, it's more of a stylization. In those mitigation areas, if you continue to propose them, shade them for us. It just helps us be able to better understand the area that's being proposed to be mitigated.
Of course. Excellent comment, Jonathan. Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Do we need a request from the applicant to continue or extend?
Yes. You had said that would be agreeable? But
If
you'll
Dan,
need it
if you
writing,
could
won't
just
you?
email me it's something for the file, and I'll make sure for next month's meeting we have all the hard copies of the other stuff.
Right. You got that, Jeremy?
I assent. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You have it on record. So,
Okay, so we have a motion to,
Motion to continue application 26-1627.
okay, so a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to continue application 26-1627 until our August meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
motion carries.
Aye.
All
Thank
right,
you so
terrific.
much.
Thank you, everyone, for your time. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, everyone.
Hopefully we should get through these others pretty quickly. They all have to be tabled. And then we'll move on to Old Killingly Pond. Okay, we'll move on to new business. First item is application 26-1630 of groundwater and environmental services for soil remediation at 39 Warregan Road. It's an industrial zone. You want to fill us in?
Sure, and I'm not sure if we have an applicant present or not tonight, but this is the old Delta Rubber Hutchinson
Okay.
property. It is a cleanup area. They're proposing soil remediation, 13 foot by 22 foot, 2 feet deep, the majority of which is within a wetland area. Nope, that's someone from Connecticut Water. That's a future one. So they might be online, but I can pull up the plans if you want.
Yes,
To
just-
look at it, just to see if it's something you want to do any sort of site walk or anything for.
And I assume this is part of a deep project anyhow.
I believe so. I mean, there's an ongoing cleanup and
there.
monitoring
Yeah.
wells in that area. This is, for anyone who doesn't know Hutchinson or Delta Rubber, it's close to our sewer plant. Oh, let me share. I'm looking at it.
So did they give you a site plan, or is it
Oh, yeah.
strictly the application?
Yep. So, a little hard to read on this, and I'm gonna zoom in.
I'm sorry, folks. This is Greg Flanagan from GES. I'm online here. I can answer any questions you might have
Perfect,
about this
Greg.
one. Yep.
So, I'll allow, if you wanna explain the project or
Sure.
cover anything with it?
Sure. Actually, there's a very small area where one of the drains from the former facility went into the temporary water, or the water course here. And if you scroll over to the left a little bit, there's an inset of the area. It's a very small, like to the left of your screen. I can't see it now. There you go. So you see that little green shading? That's the excavation. It's very small, like 25 feet by 13, I think, to 2 feet below grade, which will all be restored to prior grade with a setting appropriate native seed mix when we're all done. The idea is to remove contamination and restore it to improve water quality, the wetland quality, and to make sure nothing flows down into the river.
All right, I don't think that we're gonna have to go out there. Does have to be continued and just accepted today.
Yes. Motion to continue application 26-1630 until next month's regular meeting,
Without a site walk. or
without a
public hearing.
site walk or public hearing.
Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, thank
So,
you.
okay, does that mean that that there's no public hearing, and do we have to attend the next meeting or no?
Online would be lovely.
Yeah, online
Okay,
works,
online.
so you can
And
answer
that's-
any questions.
That's the first Monday in August, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, next item would be application 25-1608 of the Town of Killingly Board of Ed for construction of the new access road at the high school. It's like Groundhog Day, isn't it?
It is like Groundhog Day. This application was originally approved by the commission in August 4th of 2025.
Yep.
There was a modification to that approval on November 3rd, 2026. As, I don't know if you recall, the original approval called for pretty extensive retaining walls.
Yep.
The school found it to be very expensive, and they sought to reduce that. The commission ended up kind of picking a middle option, which equated to about 2,600 square feet plus or minus of wetlands impact in that area to create this access road. Since then, the town of Killingly has taken over the project on behalf of the Board of Education, and we looked at a alternative design based off comments by the commission from the June 23rd, 2025 site walk. If you recall, there was a very narrow crossing that looked to be
The original
most sensible
choice.
location. The town has gone and looked at that, and it equates to, with that crossing, about 2,200 square feet plus or minus of fill, but the rest of the impacts throughout, it accommodates, and it comes at a significantly cheaper cost that the town's looking to take it
And
on
now, this is an application that we
themselves.
actually have an option. Would you people consider it a modification rather than a whole new application to get it going, or should we?
Can I ask a question?
Oh,
before?
of course.
Has the fire marshal looked at this?
Yes,
He has.
yes. So everyone is in agreement currently that it
was
that
the
it
big
works.
That was the big
Yes, he
problem.
didn't want it before.
Yep, so our town engineering office has worked on the plans. I can share those, put them up on the screen if you'd like.
Would you like to speak to us, Dave?
Only if you want me to.
We'd love to hear from you. You never come visit.
How many square feet is
Say
this?
the same thing Jonathan just said. I'll be happy to answer questions if you have them.
It is it's actually the plan of choice that we had back a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they didn't listen to an engineer, a surveyor, and a wetland scientist when we were out in the field, but to each his own, I
I
guess.
can't answer that.
Yeah. We could have had this done this year if they had listened to us, so.
Agreed.
Now, technically, what's the easiest way to do this? I would assume a modification is appropriate.
That's a good question. I mean, they are disturbing fewer wetlands, so, a new application.
It's an improvement.
Yeah, I don't think a new application would be worth it if they're disturbing less.
I think time frame wise too, of a modification, I think our highway department is currently looking to schedule
Actually
stuff.
do it?
Yeah, they've been out there surveying it
Oh, have they?
and working to hopefully move forward with tree removal.
Yeah, if you choose to do a modification, we can get this done before football games begin.
Is that a motion to modify?
It is. Motion to approve modification for application 25-1608, Town of Killingly.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve this as a modification to application 25-1608. Karina, we ignored you up there, so I think we better do a roll call since you're on. Oh, we lost you. Your mic's off.
Myself, Sandy
Oh.
Eggers,
Yes.
Rodney Galton,
Yes.
Paul Archer,
Yes.
Chris McDonald,
Yes.
Karina Torre, yes.
All right, thank you. I think we blew over the others that were just, but this was an actual vote. The other one was just tabled. Okay, so that is now modified, so now you gotta go build it.
Thank you all.
So, do you have a schedule for this?
Break my glasses. Did I?
The highway guys want to get started
They're
on
his.
the access,
You gave me crap.
beginning of the access by the detention pond.
I've been
To
chewing
get
on
that
my-
set up, we have a tree clearing bid scheduled to come back next week.
Okay.
And once they get going, then it's just a matter of boxing it out.
Just keep
and
everybody going.
Just keep
Yep.
everybody
Okay.
moving, yep.
So
Makes
probably-
sense to do it now during
Yeah.
the low flow,
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
because currently the intermittent brook is dry.
I bet it is.
Yeah, I bet.
Even with the rain, it's still dry.
Yeah, it's not enough. It's dry. It is dry. All
All
right,
right, thank you all.
thank you. Next item is application 26-1632. Oh, no, that's the one we just did. 1633, Connecticut Water Company. For a PFAS treatment building for the existing drinking water. Let's hear about this.
And I'm gonna get the plans up there too, so you guys can all see it.
I guess I will keep these. Can't take me anywhere.
Did you pop the lens up?
Yeah. Don't worry, I've been chewing them.
All right, green light. Hi, Adam Wing, engineer for the Connecticut Water Company, here to talk about our property at 1017 North Main Street. We have an existing treatment plant there, and we are proposing the addition of a PFAS media contactor in the back to maintain our continued clean water that we've been making and continue to make. We're just adhering to the eventual EPA guidelines that are going to be rolled out for every utility across the United States that are mandated to be in by the end of 2029 or 2031, depending on who you talk to. And this is just to make sure that we have full control and full treatment of all of our wells on that parcel. So, and as opposed to doing what we're doing now to maintain the continued compliance that we're meeting. The building is going to be about 2,700 square feet. The parcel itself, I don't know if you can see here, but I'm trying to see which one you're on right there. If you go to C100C101, I think it might be the one right before there, Jonathan. Yeah, there you go. So the double line there that shows the limit of work also shows where we're going to be laying out a compost filter stock around the entire area that we're going to be trying to preserve. We've got our wetlands flagged to the south and to the, pretty much to the southeast and southwest of the property. We are not in the wetlands, but we are in the buffer zone. So it's got pretty much what we got to do right now. But I know that while the town is not, I guess, not have the regulation to tell us what to do, we just want to make sure we're doing the right thing by the town. And that's why I didn't notice that our detail sheet's not here for the civil plan, so we can include that as part of our submittal, but just to show that we do have, for any stockpiling, we have silt fence that's going to be around it. They call out for stockpiling the riprap that's currently on site so we can use it later. That will have a silt fence around it based on the sheets I have for the full set of plans for construction drawings. We also are going to be implementing the use of a sedimentation bag, so if there's any pumping for the foundation that we have to make for the new addition, it will be mitigated and not just go straight down or go a sheet flow across and down to the river that's behind us here. So we are taking the provisions to make sure that we're doing the right thing. It's in our best interest to do the right thing with our wells, so this is what we're proposing to do. The building itself, I'm not sure if you're flipped through these or anything, but it'd be a little taller than the existing facility, only to facilitate the use of the media vessels that we're using, which is going to be granular activated carbon, which is essentially Brita filter, a giant Brita filter. So, let's see. And we're
Where is this property again?
This is toward, you know where the awards and printing
Yep.
is? Right back behind there, and we're sandwiched kind of in between the health facility and the storage facility.
This is the Hopkins well field.
Correct.
I will say one thing, just a word of caution. Silt sacks are not known to hold up very well, so make sure it's in a spot you can very easily get it out, because they can be difficult to work with once they get full of silt.
Oh, understood.
Yeah.
That for sure. Yeah, no, what we like to try to do is to put together like a 3/4 inch, like almost like a bay with a check dam in between, but there's just not enough room here to make sure that we weren't going to be doing something we didn't want to. Right. But so having the bag made more sense to have that without having to disturb anything else.
Okay.
All right, I think this is another fairly simple. We can't act this evening, you know that by law.
Understood. Yep.
So your options are, to receive it or refer it, because I don't think there's any direct impact, any direct filling. So it's up to you guys.
Oh, if we should.
That area is relatively disturbed now, right?
Yeah, and we're kind of, what we have done too is we have to, by Department of Public Health standards, is to meet the 100-year flood zone. So we have shown the zone AE and X based on that with FEMA's map and corresponded to where we are. We've met and exceeded the elevation for 100-year flood zone in order to keep that in line with the state regulations. So we really narrowed down this building and did everything we could to keep it as far away from the existing wetlands and as high and as away from the floodplain that we could.
Unfortunately, I think I missed the zone AE, so there is an elevation back there that's known?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we had the property surveyed, and we had the floodway and the floodplain verified with the FEMA mapping.
So it's just a matter of, do we act on it next month or turn it over to staff?
Forgive me, did we touch on just kind of the necessity or why the pretreatment? I don't know if that would be, I think there's a lot of people that are interested in that end of it.
Absolutely. So, as everybody knows, it's PFAS is the newest chemical and what we're trying to reduce or eliminate. We've had various sites come up as having the PFAS in it, and as a company, we've taken on anything that's gone up to about 75% of what the EPA's threshold is to reduce it down to either non-detect or whatever lab can get to zero. No lab can get to zero. The EPA put out the regulation to 4 parts per trillion before any lab could get to 4 parts per trillion. So a couple of them do now in the United States and Canada, so we're lucky that they can actually get that back to us and we can understand what we've got. But we are currently mitigating which sources we use out there and how long in order to keep the parts per trillion down less than 4 parts per trillion, but not utilizing the entire well field. So we are maintaining and keeping to the promise of not having PFAS at 4 parts per trillion and having it that or less. And this is going to be a more robust solution to utilize all of the well water that we have on site.
All right, what are you guys thinking? Personally, I don't think that we're gonna have to do anything with it next month.
No.
I think staff could handle this.
Yeah. Motion to accept application 261633 as authorized agent application.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to refer application 26-1633 as a agent application. Would you like to do a roll call again, Karina? Keeps you perky.
Sure thing.
It's perky.
Sandy Eggers.
Yes.
Rodney Galton.
Yes.
Paul Archer.
Yes.
Chris McDonald.
Yes.
Karina Torrey, yes.
All right, motion carries and you're all set.
Thank you very much.
All right, the next item under new business is application 261634 of Evan, and let me get the right pronunciation, Guzzo or Guzzo? Guzzo?
I think it was the second one. Let me just pull up that one.
And that is for construction of a 10 by 18 addition to
It's
an
a-
existing home at 1121 Hartford Pike.
It is a very small addition, and I'm pulling up to the one of the original approval documents. The house itself was approved in, I want to say, 2019 by the commission. I don't know if you recall, I believe it was Mr. Moran's property at that time.
Oh, yeah.
He had an RV there for
Yeah.
years and
Yep.
years. During COVID, a septic system was installed, and then we did enforcement action, and then it got before you guys. That approval allowed for a 2-bedroom home to be built on the property. This is an old Crystal Water Company property. It's extremely unique. The addition is coming off this side. Oh, let me share it. That would help. So this is from the original approval. So I think in the packet, we are showing you, just floor plans. But in the original approval, this is coming off of this eastern side of the house. Now, that poses a different issue, as all the wetlands are in this area. There's an edge of pond. There's also a dam structure. But as you move in this eastern direction, you do get close to the side setback. So the staff has advised the applicant to submit for a variance, given the uniqueness of the property. So that will be going to the Zoning Board of Appeals next month. But as far as the wetlands end of it, because we'll have to wait for that variance and kind of working through what ZBA may require, I'm asking if you wanted to refer this particular one to staff. So we can work with the applicant to help get maybe a little better plans, but help look at the mitigation area. But the bigger issue is, first and foremost, is the setback, being that you're on the opposite side of the house of the wetland. You're not moving towards the wetland in any way, but it's just a side setback. So it's up to you guys if you want to do that. If not, I don't know if the applicant is here tonight, but it's from a front elevation, it's a small vestibule space, and I believe the applicant explained in their application it's for storage and like a little entry.
My question is, could that be considered a third bedroom?
So the only way it would be with the health department approval. So that's a two-bedroom system is kind of your minimum size system.
Right.
If it is being proposed as a bedroom prior to the building official signing off, we would need something from the health department. If there is any improvements outside of utilizing maybe that reserve space or to that septic area, that could be referred back to the commission if you so choose to look at it. Again, looking at that reserve space and the existing septic area, it's on the far side of the property, albeit it's a very small property from the house and where the existing watercourse is.
And even if it is a bedroom, the health department will allow it. You're allowed to increase a bedroom, one bedroom, without having to increase the septic system.
Thank you.
So when they do a two-bedroom
Houses,
plan, it's actually 3.
Right, the two-bedroom is the bare minimum septic you can, but the health department allows you to increase by one bedroom without having to increase the septic.
With a modern system.
With a modern system.
Yes.
Correct.
So that is a modern system then?
It was put in 2019.
No, okay.
So what do you think? Staff or come back?
I don't think there's anything really for us, especially if they get the variance and
Correct.
they can do everything in this, or not everything, but most of the work in the building setback. I don't see why it's a problem.
I think it sounds like a motion.
It does.
And-
Authorized agent.
As long as they get the variance.
And there's a second?
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to refer application 26-1634 as authorized agent application.
And definitely, I would not be looking to move forward with an agent unless a variance
It
is
was-
granted.
yeah.
Yep.
All right, Karina, you want to start?
Sure thing. Sandy Eggers,
Yes.
Rodney Galton,
Yes.
Paul Archer,
Yes.
Chris McDonald,
Yes.
Karina Torrey, yes.
All right. This is amazing. It is not midnight, and we're going to start Old Killingly Pond. Yes. Okay, we're going to actually start Old Killingly Pond with you bringing us up to date on where we stand with it, you guys, and then we can't let it be a free-for-all, but we'll be asking for a motion to suspend the rules and get some input from people and see where we stand. That would sound like a sure to suspend the rules. In a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. All right, Jonathan, you want to just bring us up to date on where we stand and all your spare time, what you've been able to do about it?
Well, the ball is definitely in Wish's court at this point. There is, as part of your packet, and as Al has pointed out, the engineer for Geodesign Inc. Has notified the town and is going through the notification process with Connecticut Deep to utilize machinery to clear an obstruction that exists at the outflow of Old Killingly Pond. And I'm going to pull up that email. It's in your packet, but so we're all looking at the same thing. And this, I believe, was also put on the town website by the town manager's office as well. So, just to read it, I guess, into the record for everyone, this is an update from Jacob Wimmet, PE for Geo Design Inc. His update, this is to Connecticut Deep Dam Safety as well as others. We are working on lining up a subcontractor to lay a route with crane mats for us to access debris blockage at the low-level outlet with a mini excavator. We are tentatively hoping to do the work Monday, July 13th, provided we can get everything aligned. I will follow up to confirm. Since then, Deep did confirm receipt of that email later that day. I know we're going to be looking as a commission to also comment
I was just gonna say,
on the overall.
I think we were kind of the opinion that we were gonna try to interface
Yep,
with the state on behalf of the town for everybody that's got
So
their
we can
concerns.
do.
How are we working on
They
that?
haven't formally submitted their full application, right, at this point, like where we would normally have that response time, because there's a time where we're supposed to, almost like as an intervener, respond. So
So
because
we
they're
are
still
gonna be
doing.
treated as an intervener, just so that all these people
We
know?
can, yeah, I mean, that's.
Is that the safest way to go about it? And
That is.
make sure,
Yeah,
request that, be
we
sure
can-
it happens?
We can request it, yeah, if that's what the commission would like. But
What do you guys think? It seems like it's the only safe way to make sure something gets heard.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Sort of stops everything in its tracks.
Yeah, and we can confirm the correct process if we're looking as just trying to be party to the application or as a true environmental intervener of sorts. I can confirm that process. But as far as a draft, I can start the draft. I think that was some of the conversation last month. We
Yes.
talked about looking at a draft. Admittedly, with some of the other stuff on the agenda, I don't have that draft for
I
you
bet
tonight.
not.
But I did start researching and pulling some of the older records. The town has done a lot of this over the years, with Old Killingly Pond in particular. I found records from Linda Walden and others of different environmental assessments that I think are of value because it gives us a good baseline of what was there in terms of habitat and what we're looking to protect and have restored there. So that information, as well as looking at what they're looking to submit. But I know the Conservation Commission did submit a correspondence. We can look to do a similar one. I would imagine, being this commission, we want to be a little more technical with it. But I'm happy to start putting that together.
I think you have to start putting together, but I think the one thing we have to be concerned about is if Wish is gonna be looking to start activities within the next week, I think you have to make sure that we have whatever status is going to best suit us to make sure that we get legitimate input
Yeah.
and that they don't tell us something and then we go, oh, we screwed up and weren't
I'm
able to relay it.
I mean, clearing the blockage, I understand. I think
Yeah.
that
Oh, no,
there's
but
a
I
real concern right now that outlet is collapsed under the dam.
But we need to make
or
sure that
blocked.
we have the right status with the state. I mean, that sounds like stupid, but
Mhm.
the state of Connecticut's the state of Connecticut. If we don't have that right, they'll just ignore us.
John,
Yeah.
do you know if U.S. Army Corps has been notified of this?
I'd have to look into that.
Because crane mats, they consider crane mats fill in a wetland system.
Mhm.
Because we've tried to use them before and we can't. It's considered fill in a wetland. And if that's a water of the United States, which it most likely
I
is.
can't imagine it's not.
Correct.
Yeah.
Something else,
Correct.
yeah.
Army Corps would have input on that.
Yeah, I can reach out also to our dam safety end of it and just see where they stand on that. I would imagine that they would notify in that process, but the original notification was to try to go in there without machinery. And that then changed based off of the reality of some of the blockages that were down there.
And, you know, I get public safety
Yep.
trumps, public safety, public health, they trump everything that needs to get done, especially emergency situations. But, I mean, they've waited this long. I can imagine they're considering this an emergency, right? 'Cause,
Or just utilization of like a long reach.
Right, something.
You know, instead of a
Or,
mini excavator.
you know, we've had to use pneumatic tires rather than tracks. You know, we've had to do that just to satisfy Army Corps.
Yeah.
So, and if they've been notified and they throw their hands up, then that's Army Corps' right
Yeah.
to do that, so.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys recall, I think at last month's meeting where we stood, you know, they were supposed to do the investigative work, and then they were supposed to lower the gate and let it refill. That was where we had left it for last month. They were supposed to let it refill 12 feet, I believe, was the original.
And now it said now it's gonna be at 4, or supposedly at 4.
Well,
after?
I think they're still looking at that, what that outlet looks like before they determine.
They even do that.
Connecticut Deep has, obviously, because this is a dam structure and an impoundment, the majority of the jurisdiction here. But if there's any item that you guys want me to run up the flagpole, or I'm happy to do so through you.
Yeah, I would just check into whether or not Army Corps has been notified of
Mhm.
this. Just because, you know, they may have input and, you know, they may tell you to try to get a long reach out there, or use a backhoe with pneumatic tires and all that other stuff.
Well, no different than some of our other conversations in terms of seeking alternatives.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
And then I think that basically what, we just need to make sure that all of you guys feel very comfortable relaying the information back to Jonathan so he can get it to the state on our
Yeah.
behalf. Because like I said, we're more than welcome to be the conduit, but you guys are out there and have seen a lot of it already. It's not being ignored. As I said, we probably have to apologize for some things being on back burners the last couple of months, but you're not on the back burner. That's
Yeah.
not the case. Have some of you given Jonathan information already?
All 9 months, Sandy.
Okay. So you're
Yep.
getting,
Yeah, we have some of the stuff that was submitted through the
Good.
town council and other documents, so.
Excuse me, someone last month said that they had a report or something from a hydrologist, or, right?
that was you, was
All this 9 months, we've been giving all that information.
Has there been any updates to that or anything, or is it just the same report?
Which report?
The hydrologist report?
For, like, the
From-
studies
I-
that Wishes is putting in?
No, that you guys had.
Charles? Yeah, I gave that, I presented that to the town council.
Okay.
That's the whole, I presented.
No, the question was, has there been any updates?
Oh, yeah, yeah, there has.
Okay, so if there's a more current version
yeah,
or
make
revised
sure you just
version?
get any of this information to Jonathan so that he can.
Yeah. Email
Get
it or
it
drop
into
it
him.
off, it doesn't matter.
Because they asked us to relay it to the state for you, but make sure you get it to him so that he can do it. Anything in particular new that you need to get to him this evening?
No, let me just ask a question.
No, who would have thought? Al's got something to say about Old Killingley Pond.
All right, I'll do frame 148 Pond Road. Is the mic on? Yeah, all right. I was just wondering, you know, all right, we do all this stuff, we follow up on it and everything, but every motion that gets done on this thing is one closer step towards the goal at the end is to remove the low-level outlet on the pond and keep the water the way it is, you know, drop down. How are we working towards getting the pond water back up towards the original levels where we're at before, instead of just going through the motions and keeping you updated on with the, you know, reports and their reports and things. If we just keep following that motion, we're going towards the goal of actually keeping the pond down forever. That's what's happening now. What are we gonna do to turn that around and bring the water levels back up?
Does it come to
where
a
they were?
point, Jonathan, where we have to figure out who's gonna end up taking responsibility for it, is what I think is gonna.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
be
I mean,
be
there's
the
that.
thing.
I mean, the
And
Wish
I think that the whole
Corporation.
idea is to see if we can get the state to step up. Is that,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we're working towards that to get the state to step up. This is.
because there's gotta be funding from somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. Or get them to actually fix it, the owners, because they give the story that they don't have the funding, and they do take out a large amount of money to pay themselves every year, like $250,000 yearly, and their company is a multi-billion-dollar company. This is just the shell company, you know, you kind of put the ball under the shell and try to figure out where the money is. That's what this is, a shell company, and they're a huge company. One company they own is VeriSign, you know, where they sign off online on real, that's just one company. I mean, they got Bosch and Lomb that they got out of National Patent Corporation. That was one of the companies that, one of the products they got, intellectual
Wow.
property. I mean, Bosch and Lomb, they have the contact
know
lenses,
that.
and they made billions, so it's, don't be afraid about money. We should be going after them, you know, to get this stuff fixed. They had the money, so, I don't know. That's my idea.
Yeah, no, I think generally the opinion of the town is that, is trying to hold, first and foremost, the entity who owns the property, right, owns the dam,
Yeah.
to fix it. But if there is an event where someone has to step in, I think the town's position also is potentially getting the state, or some involvement of the state. The
Just
state's
so
been
that
looking.
something can happen.
They've been granting,
You
you
can't
know.
just sit forever and not have anything happen.
Right, they can do something for
Yes.
change.
Yeah.
Ian, you want to
Instead of
give
just, like,
your,
looking the other way.
Ian, you
Let's
want to
do
give
some
your
work
name
on there.
and address for the record again?
I'm not trying to
Just
kick
so they
out.
have it.
Yeah.
He'll be back, don't
That's a-
worry, he'll be
yeah,
back, I'm sure.
Ian McDonald, 548 Valley Road. Just a couple things that I think are maybe helpful in conversations with the state. You know, sometimes they look at dams sort of in the abstract, and they think of, you know, there's a lot of dams in the state. But I'll just say that there's, as far as I can see, only 2 dams in the county that have a body of water of this significance that also has a state park. So I think that's important for us to remember, because I've heard from different state actors, you know, oh, we've got 4,000 dams, or but it's important that they don't have 4,000 state parks with these kind of bodies of water. They have something like 17, and there's 2 in the county of this significance. It's this aquatic, basically. And so I think that's important to remember. I think also, you know, and I'm big on the environment, and you guys are here, you know, protecting the environment, but I also think it's important, you know, when Al talks about the wells, that a lot of the human infrastructure is coming after these things were established. So when this isn't at the level that we've been used to for all these decades, then we have the problems, you know, in terms of the wells. I know there's sometimes people, maybe some folks at Deep might look at, you know, dam removal and think, oh, this is a positive environmental thing. But, you know, this has been so long established. You're not only affecting a lot of people, but I mean, everybody will tell you here, there's a lot of, you know, loons, cormorants, eagles, all around that. I don't know that they've been there now. It looks pretty desolate, but it's been a very rich, herons, it's been a very rich habitat. And we're not, I don't know that we're seeing that so much now. And I guess the last thing is, so it was, I think that's most of it, but just, I do think the governor is both aware. I think he may actually be engaged, but I think they're looking to put the pieces together here. I think the state, you know, town may be a partner to some degree, you know. I think, you know, whatever we have to do to make this work, but, yeah, I think it's just important to kind of keep that context, because those are things I hear frequently, and I think it's important to kind of let them know that this is a little bit of a different situation. And this was the last thing. If it's being put forward as an environmental benefit, there's so many dams below that dam. You know, there are so many mills on that river. So if you get rid of that dam, the fish aren't going to all, you know, start swimming up right away. I mean, it's going to be, there are so many dams to get rid of to really have that sort of free-flowing, you know, ideal situation. So you're not really doing any great benefit, I think, for the environment by removing it there, in my opinion. But I'll leave it at that. Sorry to go on long there.
Okay. But I think that one thing, like I said, it's not, since we're going to be the face of the town going to the state, unfortunately, I think the financing's something we have to really start looking at and figuring out. And that's not really our thing, but it's the bottom line. It's the only way it happens. Yes.
Hi, Claudette Rogers, 294 Putnam Pike. I spent 2 hours there last Saturday cleaning up O'Killenly Pond. So the best thing about draining Old Killingly Pond is that we were able to clean up almost 600 pounds of trash out of there. But I'll tell you, 2 hours out in the sun was really hard. It was really hard. And all the aquatic life that is living in Old Killingly Pond right now has no shade. There was snapping turtles, there's fish, there's baby fish that need the shade of the trees, but because we, as a town, as whatever, have not gone after them legally, which is causing and has caused a genocide on our environment, on our drinking water, on our clean, fresh water, on all these habitats that go from Old Killingly Pond down. And being on the conservation, I didn't really send out the 911 alarm right away when I heard that it was happening. But I can say after going there and seeing what is happening there, and I don't know how anything can happen like this. It's not even feasible, like, that we can just allow, like, the DEP is allowing this to happen. That they came out and helped us grab fish from a little puddle and bring it to the big part of the pond, so the fish wouldn't just die and stuff. So what are we gonna have? What is gonna be flowing down? If you take a big pile of poop and put it at the top of your chain of water and stuff and just let it go, dead fish, dead turtles, dead life, the life that lives there. Allison told me when they dredged Owen Bell, there was turtle after turtle after turtle underneath all that, like, stuff. So you're telling me that all these turtles that are dying, I've seen pictures of them, somebody posted pictures of them, like, laying all their eggs and stuff, but I really want to urge the town to start, like, we got to start thinking financially and to go after this company, that we need to legally hold them responsible for what they're doing to our town. This is not acceptable. I do not find it acceptable that we're going to put in a $750,000 access road to the high school, but we can't spend $1 to save our clean drinking water in this town. That's where I'm at.
Okay, and like I said, though, but just make sure you keep getting everything to Jonathan so he can put it together, too.
Justin Fisher, 94 Dam Road. Thank you guys for bringing this up on the agenda. I think that, in my personal opinion, I think that 3 entities need to work together on this, because it's, selfishly speaking, outside of Old Killingly Pond. It's bigger than Old Killingly Pond. The Acme Cotton Dam site, right? That's 27 years of documented contaminated soil that is going right downstream. Somebody's liable for that, and that's the owners of that company, same owners that own all the dams downstream. They have the money. I think that the town and the state need to work together on figuring out a negotiation before the L word, but I think that people need to actually talk to each other instead of just talking to talk. We can give out all this information. It's just useless if we don't talk to each other and actually come up with actions. That's my first opinion on the state and the town needing to talk and negotiate with these companies. They're willing to donate, so they're willing to talk. And I think the 3 entities are the residents. I think that we have a hand in it, right? And I like to think that the information, the importance of all of it, the public events, the awarenesses around the pond and around our water, I think that we have shown our hand here in the town. It's not just, we had 52 people show up to clean the pond. Over almost 600 pounds of trash pulled out of there. It's a pretty big feat, and it was actually very impressive. So I think the residents do have a say in this, whether that be a special taxing district, some sort of subcommittee off of this that volunteers and helps, wetlands committee on, say, maintenance or whatever. And then there's obviously the town and the state. And I think both equally have a large share to this, and I have a few different opinions on who should own what. Just my opinion, but say the town did own it. Well, the state has a hand in that. 94% of the land around the pond is a state park that, without the pond, it's kind of miserable to be looking at, trust me. So there's ways, memorandums that the town can say, hey, I own it, but you pay off of it, so you're gonna give me X percentage a year to maintain it. A memorandum, a lifetime agreement that I'm gonna keep up with this water level, and it's gonna make your state park pretty, and the residents have a hand in it too, and then we all kind of have a hand in it, and vice versa. And there's other options that we could play with, but I think that all of us kind of have a hand in this. I that's about everything I gotta say.
Just keep the information coming so they can get it there. We got to get it to them, or it's not going to happen.
The state has it. That's the thing. Everything that I've given to everybody everybody's got it.
Yeah, but does it help if it comes in one concerted effort from the town?
I
You
mean,
think,
it
Ed?
would have been helpful 9 months ago, truthfully speaking. I mean, yeah, it is, but we got 3 months before they potentially go bankrupt. So are we going to wait another month for the next one to kind of look at each other and say, what are we going to do? Or are we actually going to, what are we going to do tomorrow? Because am I wasting my time? Or, I mean, I feel like we're the only ones talking to people. That's my concern right now. It's a real concern for the residents. Like, what are we doing? I've taken it as far as I absolutely could, and I'm still trying to run, and I'm running blind. So what are we doing? I'll keep sending the information.
Ida Barris, 1123 North Road, and I agree with what everybody else has said, and thank you for keeping this alive. I've been calling all these officials as well at DEEP, and Ian was talking to someone at DEEP who seems to be talking to the governor, which is nice. So I called the governor and I asked him, I didn't get to talk to him, I never do, but I did leave word with one of his aides that we really want the governor to put pressure on DEEP so that they have some responsibility. But also, in the last legislation, the state has set aside, I think, $47 million for state parks and dams. And we certainly would like your voice on having them spend some of that money in Killingly. So I think that they have the money. It's not going to cost $47 million to fix and restore the pond, but the state does have the money. Our preference still is for the state to put pressure on DEEP to do what they should have been doing for the last 40 years. So hopefully, we know there's money out there, and your voices are really important. So thank you.
Actually, Ed, would it be appropriate, like I said, unfortunately, funding is not our thing, but it's got to be upfront or it's not going to happen. If that kind of money is available, is that something Jonathan should be doing, or is somebody else going to? Right.
If it's DEP, if someone is talking to DEP, if they find money available to get. If the town has no responsibility with, it's DEP's.
Yes, I know that.
Entity. So if everybody gets together, you get as much information to DEP, everybody in town wrote a letter to DEP, said you have X number of dollars send it over to Oak Henley Pond. That's the kind of information back and forth. But as the town, we can only have you pass the information on.
But
We
would that
get-
be appropriate for us, since you had asked us to be the
Well, you
the
are
conduit?
passing on the comments that we get from the public, and we're passing that on, and also the public to bring it forward, that put pressure on Deep, put pressure on the governor, to
But
put
I-
pressure on Deep.
But I think that would make as much sense as anything. I know you don't need a million other things to do right now, but if there's money out there and it's earmarked for something like that, it seems like the place it should be going.
Yeah, I mean, the state, it's an election year, so the state is announcing a lot of money to various groups and entities. I believe the town of Putnam got money for some municipally owned infrastructure, as well as applicants who owned that infrastructure got it. We don't have an applicant necessarily in this case that, at least that we know of, is seeking grant money, because we don't have ownership.
The biggest part is.
That's the problem.
Ownership, that is the whole key.
But-
If the town had ownership.
You could apply.
If DEP had, or state of Connecticut had ownership, we wouldn't be where we are
But
right now.
we have seen, other donations, to like Wyndham Land Trust and others, for conservation in Killingly that we were
Even
aware
that, it's
of.
hard to go to it's privately
It's
owned,
private
and
property
that's
is the trouble.
That's the killer.
Yeah.
That's, if the ownership was changed.
Some grants.
Something could be done.
Some grants will only open to, depending on the grant,
Right.
if it's going to a land trust or if it's going to a municipality. And then sometimes there's strings attached to those. Not all of them are 100% funding, here's free money. Sometimes there's matching, and that's where, we have to work with, the town council in terms of like funding, if there was any opportunity for that. But we can look, we can see what there is for funding. As far as, the application window, I know there's an important window to intervene, but we can always send something sooner. There's no problem with that. I think the feedback we got with some of the other correspondence that, we'll put it in the file. And to Justin and others' point, does anyone look at the file? Because we've looked at the file and there's a lot of letters going from the state to this company telling them to fix their problem dating back 20 years.
September 4th, 1954.
Yeah, I mean, they're going back for a long period of time.
The owners of the dam wish they'll give me $200,000 in the dam. I mean, they're going to donate these properties because it's all a liability to them. They have contaminated soil. They have old decrepit dams that they haven't maintained, that nobody's policed them on, and they've gotten away with it. And now we're going to be left this black eye, dirty dirt, and shitty water. So what are we going to do about it? Because my kids are going to have to drink out of that. And that's why it's so upsetting, because I will move. I'm young enough to pick it up and go. So it's upsetting to sit here and say the privately owned and we're putting up roadblocks for ourselves to not solve any issues. The issue is that these dams haven't been maintained. The solutions is that they want to donate them. They've tried to do it for decades now because they don't want the liability. They're a business. They're not us. They don't have to see it every day. We do. We have to live with it. It's our water. It's our soil. They don't care. They used it, abused it, dump it. So either way, we're going to get them. We're going to get it. We can't just uproot the dirty dirt. So before they go out of business, we need to go poke the bear. Hey, Harvey Einstein, give me some money. You're responsible for it. That company's responsible for it. They did the damage. We need to have real conversation and not just once a month meetings. It's cute. I like seeing you guys. I mean, I like coming up here. I like to think I'm a funny dude sometimes, but I mean, we have to start acting and not just waiting on us to come up here and pester you guys. I don't like doing this. I feel like an ass. I feel like I'm being rude and mean, and I don't mean to, but it's just frustrating. I got to wake up to this every day. I'm up 20 hours a day, raising a family, working, single house income, and now I gotta look at this, and now I gotta find solutions, and then I gotta present them to you to help your town. It's kind of crazy. You guys should be helping us.
Just a clarifying point, just be quick, Michelle, sorry. Didn't mean to cut you. Just clarifying point on the 45 million or whatever it is of the state bonding money. I recognize that this is currently in private hands, but, you know, there's maybe some questions and negotiations and that type of thing around this facility. And aside from a formal, you know, grant application process, I think there's maybe more of an informal, keep some of that money aside to, like, don't spend all that. We need some of that here as part of that sort of negotiated settlement around this particular problem. So that's kind of how I'm looking at that particular pool of money. So even if it's not currently available due to this being in Wish's hands, it's still something that we should be talking about with various state people. Thanks.
Michelle?
Hey, Michelle Murphy, 325 Breakneck Hill Road. So I kind of have questions about purview. And so you guys are just kind of liaisons, is that what you are with this situation?
What are we, Ed?
That may be a good, because you don't have any legislative powers.
We got no power, but they needed somebody to be willing to be a conduit, and we decided that if somebody had to do it, we didn't mind.
So here's my thought on that. So Deep's gonna come down with a decision, and then there's gonna be a public comment time. I'd like to see some site walks, maybe with you guys and conservation, over time, like when the thing comes up, when the thing goes down, and you can respond with public comment, say, we don't think this is good because, for our town, not about the dam, about all that land. And the water rights are owned by somebody, but as it recedes, some of these people actually own that property. And so I think we do have a right to say, you know, it's within your purview to go together maybe with a commission and respond to those comments once the permit comes out. And you're also double as the Aquifer Protection Commission, is that right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So to me, it's within that purview. And we have an environmental lawyer, don't we? Like, you know.
And Katina.
So that might be something like a little get-together with conservation and with inland wetlands, and hey, how do we want to respond to this situation about our land, not about the dam? Because you have a right to do that. If I was going to do something in my backyard, you'd have a right to come in and say, hey, what are you doing with that swimming pool? So just make sure I got everything. Yeah, at the very least, I'd love to see those three, the lawyer and the conservation and you guys do a little bit of looking at it and then responding to Deep when the decision comes out. Because it does make a difference. In my field, we have permits as well, and you'll do your public comments and say, I don't want to test for aluminum or whatever. And sometimes they say, no, we've decided this, we're going to do it. But especially coming from somebody knowledgeable, it can make a difference. So that's my thought on it.
Sorry, guys. Oh, sorry, Susan.
I'm gonna be real brief.
Al, I think he's outdoing you tonight.
My name's Susan Rosenstone-Laro, live on 156 Pond Road. How many of you people have actually come down to the pond to see what it looks like?
We all have.
Have you all been there?
I think so.
Because I'd like to invite you again to come look. It changes every day. It gets lower and it gets lower, and the rocks are just, I mean, I like to paint rocks, but it's out of the hand. I'm an artist, so I taught art at Killingly High School in Woodstock Academy. So I've been around a long time, and this is, it's terrible. It's really terrible. And you got to keep coming back, keep coming looking at it, because it's getting worse. It's really getting worse. It's only you.
The Justin Fisher 94 Dam Road. The infamous wall. Everybody loves the wall, right? The good story of the wall. Everybody knows the wall, the fence along Pond Road, the wall. That's Killingly Pond Dike. That's owned by the state of Connecticut. That hasn't been maintained in years. We got a problem, guys. We got to. I'd like to figure out a way. Maybe we have a meeting. I don't know if that's. We can have Mr. Slater show up if we need to for attorneys to tell us how many we can have in a room. But I really think that we should sit down and figure out a few different options to present of multiple owners of this thing. And I hope some of you have already started to think about that. But there's a huge different assets of pools, and maybe Mr. Connecticut Water Company guy can come back and have another pull in that as well, because we do supply the Hopkins well field as a secondary source, a major secondary source. So that will be diminished.
All right, Jonathan? Yep.
Diana Weber, 238 Mashantuck Road. And like I've stated, my family's been here for over 150 years. They had cottages on Old Kilney Pond. It's how we all learned to swim, by getting pushed off the end of the dock and everything. And I had grown and moved away, and I came back, and I was so excited to show my husband Old Kilney Pond, because it's just like one of my favorite, best times ever, for 14 years at least. And we pulled up there, and this was like before this. This was, maybe 10 years ago, and he was like, wow, this is pretty ghetto. And I had to admit, it really, I hadn't seen the fence, I hadn't heard all of that, I didn't know things got out of control or whatever, but it's like, it's not personal against these landowners. Like, they deserve to enjoy their properties, but we too need to enjoy that property, the pond, like we always have, and I don't know, and I've said it to a couple of them as well, like, people got to access it, they got to be invested, they got to have some reward, but it's not just about the people living around the pond, it's also the people in our county, who would still go there and still enjoy it and still teach our kids to swim and do all the things that we were lucky enough to grow up doing. So it really is really important. And if there's any money for anything and any grant that we can apply for without having to match or do this or that or whatever, the sewer plant, everything, let's go for it. If we don't ask, the answer's always no. So I just hope that, and like Justin was saying, we can't keep kicking the can. It's like, I've been hearing about this since January. I think they had until like January 20th or something to come back with something back then. And then it's like, here we are in July, and they still haven't been accountable to us, and they need to be, So that's it. Thank you.
Ulatique Barclay, 26 Dark Lantern Hill Road. So I'm going to piggyback off Justin. It's the long-term impacts to our water. So Connecticut Water, Hopkins Wellfield, all of our water systems, they're all interconnected. We don't have this magic reservoir that Connecticut Water uses. It all comes from the same source. All of our wells, everything eventually comes from the same source. So the short-term impacts was the dug wells went dry, but the long-term impacts is we're going to have a lot of water shortages in Killingly itself. This morning I heard that Westerly, because of the rain, you're going to get your water supply back. It might be a little cloudy, but it's clean. So Westerly was running out of water from the drought. So the same thing's going to happen to Killingly, especially with a lot of these industries coming in. Amazon's a proposal for 250,000 gallons, the 2 tanks coming from Hopkins Wellfield, that's our drinking water. There's no little reservoir, our aquifers.
Okay, so I think, Jonathan, the thing is, ownership's a big deal, no doubt about that, but I think we need to look at options on funding regardless of ownership, because I know that's not easy, that's not a simple task for you to figure out. But the bottom line is.
It's been looked at, obviously, like, in terms of funding, in even ownership. You know, that's been conversation multiple years, brought to various town councils, town managers, but I'm happy to look at different things. But some of this, when we're talking about acquiring a property and stuff, goes beyond our current purview.
Yes.
So, but I'm happy to start those conversations, leave with the town manager if he wants to bring anything back to the town council. And then we can look to get some stakeholders together and meet and go through some items. I mean, I'm looking right now, I see there's political candidates here. There's state reps currently online that are watching this meeting. If anyone has a better ability to negotiate from a state down way of looking at this, I mean, now's the time.
That
Show up for
probably
your
makes more sense.
constituents.
If May's available, maybe she can respond on whether or not there's anything actually out there for options for us.
I was gonna ask if there's one particular person that the community and maybe our town government can appeal to on the state level, to have an ally or a relationship going on.
May, are you on?
I am.
We're more than happy to throw you under the bus next, so.
No.
Your turn, hop over here.
I was happy to say something until you framed it that way, Madam Chair. I will just say I've been listening to this conversation, and I've been talking with a variety of stakeholders about this issue for not just the last several months, but frankly, this is an issue, as I think Jonathan pointed out very well, has been coming up over and over again over many decades. I will say I've had meaningful conversations with Governor Lamont about this, obviously with Ed Grandowski and the town council about this, and trying to see what the solution is. As has been pointed out just in this conversation tonight, it's very complicated, and because of the private ownership, but I do think there are some avenues for us, and when it comes specifically to the question of funding, I am happy to work to secure any resources that the town decides it needs to protect Old Kinley Pond and to restore it. We've got to figure out the ownership issues, as has been mentioned. And I will also just say that I spoke with the deputy commissioner over at DEEP about this issue. I've met with folks at DEEP several times. I actually spoke with the deputy commissioner just today about this, and along the lines of what I think Justin had suggested, and I think Jonathan said as well, convening a group of people. That's exactly what the deputy commissioner and I at DEEP talked about today, is convening a group of people to talk about this sooner rather than later.
So May, at this point, you're comfortable and able to help us facilitate some kind
Absolutely.
of a good partnership? Because this has got to go through DEEP, I think. Don't you, Jonathan? This has got to start with DEEP.
DEEP plays an important role in this.
Yeah.
I mean, it being just the dams division, but also just as a
property
regular property owner with the state park, but regulatory body for the environmental impacts as a greater whole. So I think DEEP plays a very important role in this, and it should be a top priority for them.
Did you get any kind of a feel for them on any willingness on their part to step up and become? I think the reality is we can pussyfoot around this forever. We're looking for an owner for that dam. That's what the reality is.
I think it's not just that dam though. I believe the company is looking to offload all of
That's
their
the
dams.
problem, yeah.
with
That's
it.
right.
And some of them are high hazard and have years of varying delays on repairs and reporting. So the one on Bailey Hill, for instance, is I think
Disaster waiting to happen.
particular concern. Yeah.
But May, you probably are in the unique position to really be able to make this happen.
Yes, and I'm happy to do
Because-
it. Like I said, I spoke with Governor Lamont just last week again about this issue, and the deputy commissioner at Deep earlier today. So I think what is being outlined here, those conversations can happen very shortly.
And Jonathan, I would assume that you'd be more than willing to hop into the middle of that.
Yep, happy to participate.
Look at that, May. We got another one thrown under the bus with you right away. But,
I don't feel like I was thrown or run over by a bus for whatever.
But you know
it's
what the
worth.
thing is,
And I'm
unless-
sorry, I was physically there, but I had to head home. I apologize.
But you know what the thing is, unless something like this really gets started, like you said, we're just all gonna sit around and talk about it. We don't have
Right.
the ability. We don't have the power. We don't have the authority. We can volunteer
that's-
you.
That's
it.
what's so complicated about this. Because of the private ownership, it's hard to figure out who's got the authority on what aspects of this.
Have you gotten any kind of a feel from Wish on whether or not there is even the option of getting that one dam and not all the rest of the rolling circus that is theirs? They just want the whole thing unloaded, I assume.
I would assume so.
I can't imagine them not.
You don't want to give the cream.
All right, so I think, actually, it's kind of nice that we spotted you on there. So that at least was a start. Anything else other than, I think that's all we can do. I think that's a big step.
I think you have one last
Oh,
stalker.
I didn't-
Maybe
yes,
the
go
last
for it.
one, right?
Yep.
I don't know. It's up to you guys, but.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Dr. Angelina Wagner. I live in Putnam on Providence Street. One of the things that, because I've been with the Fishers since the beginning of this, and one of the things that I've done is research the company, research all of the dams that they own with the Fishers, and something that continuously comes up in the town council meetings, forgive me, Ed, I adore you, is the cost and like understanding that they don't want to just give up one dam. They want you to take all 5 of them, and they offer to give like $250,000 to help maintain them. They say that it costs like $11,000 to $16,000 a year to maintain all of them, which I don't know that I agree with. But the conversation usually stops there because they were like, oh, that's a lot of money and that's a lot of liability to take on. They're not going to take care of these dams. So one of my favorite analogies to give to my kids when they're dragging their feet on something is the time is going to pass no matter what. These dams are going to keep going downhill no matter what, and if there is no intervention now, when you do have the courage to step forward to intervene, it's going to cost so much more money for the town, for the state, and for everyone involved. So I do agree with Justin Fisher when he says that there needs to be action taken now. I also have spoken with the governor about this and the congressman about this. And when I spoke with the governor, he said he was talking with the attorney general about this. So this is something that is significant. And it is something that the fear of the cost of it should not stop the community from moving forward with protecting the community, because it's going to cost so much more if action is not taken soon. Thank you.
Okay. We've spent almost an hour on this, but I think that after all the circles that we went around, I think we actually ended up with a little bit of headway here at the end. Don't you guys? I think we succeeded, Ed, in passing it on to Jonathan and May.
Well, I've had conversations with May. We have conversations
Yep.
with the governor. He is aware.
Yeah, and there,
How to
I don't
do-
think there's
again,
much else we can,
It's private
Not pretty.
ownership is sucks. That's killing the whole project. Although
and I don't think anyone in this town would blink an eye at taking over the dam at Old Killingly Pond. It's all those others.
Yep.
And not to put anyone else, there we go. Not to put anyone else on the spot. I know we also
we
have
will.
Miss Dauphinais on as well.
All right, I did
So
not see that.
So maybe
Oh,
it can become a
Ann,
bipartisan
this, I can't
effort
believe,
of
I cannot
sorts.
believe that we missed you, Ann. Hop right in this. And your phone's gonna start ringing from like the whole room if you don't answer pretty quick.
No comment.
She's on, but yeah.
She's trying to answer. You're on mute. What are you doing?
Is she like as technically challenged as me?
It can be tough, on the mic on the WebEx. I can hold her up to the mic if you want.
Yeah. You got her on, Michelle?
At this point, she's probably gonna talk better than I can. Yeah. Go ahead, Ann.
Hello?
Hello?
We've got you on.
Can you hear us, Ann?
I can hear you. I've been listening right along.
I hadn't spotted you, or you would have been thrown under quicker too.
I'm sorry. I've been I take care of my 92-year-old mother earlier, and I was trying to get on and listen, so I've been listening.
Basically, we're just looking to see who can stir the pot and try to get things moving on this dam situation.
I'm happy to help in any way I can. I know Justin and I have had several conversations. I've spoken to Michelle Murphy. I know there's a new DEP commissioner that just came on board, so we need to kind of see if we can get a meeting with that person and get them involved. But I'm happy to help in any way I can.
Perfect.
Good.
Thank
So
you, Ann.
we're using Jonathan as our point, so we'll just have him keep in touch with you.
Yeah, just let me know if I have to show up anywhere to.
And we'll send you.
Transfer title or something on this, so.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, and
I just want to say, May, are you there? Let's have some cooperation. Ann, cooperate with May. May, cooperate with Ann. Let's go.
everybody. This is, if there was ever the it takes a village thing, this is it. No doubt about it. All right, anything else? I think we have you buried.
On Old Killingley Pond, that's it for right now.
Okay, all right, then staff report. Or correspondence first.
Correspondence, there is a correspondence, I have another item. It was, I think I just included in your packet, the cover letter. It's for a dam, bridge replacement project on 101 at Via Chase Reservoir. State Bridge number 008680217.
Oh, you told us a lot with that, yes.
Yeah, well, if you want to look it up, you need that number. So all of the full correspondence, including plans, are on the town website. It was part of our meeting materials. If anyone is interested, if not, we can also look to have a copy, for review in our office. But the state is starting that process, looking at the environmental permits necessary to replace and upgrade that bridge crossing.
Okay. All right, anything else for staff?
There was authorized application approval for 261631 of Mr. Norm Farren. That was approved by the authorized agent on June 25th, 2025. It is just a pretty small 750 square foot accessory dwelling unit. It's a rear addition and a 14 by 24 garage addition. This is within the upland review, but with no direct impacts. We've been to the site and inspected, silt fence and other items, and felt confident with that project to be able to move forward. Other than that, I have no other monthly reports or zoning reports. I would imagine I'll probably end up getting some sort of update as it relates to our earlier action in regards to the denial without prejudice in terms of where we
I'm sure
might
you'll
see
hear
with
plenty.
that. But I'll be looking to coordinate with the attorney on that, because how that works in sequence, particularly with the planning and zoning application.
All right, then town council. And if, don't tell us warehouses or Old Killingley Pond, or you can leave now.
During our meeting, the last council meeting, we gave a plaque to John LaBelle's wife, thanking John
Very
for
nice.
his services. He was on both sewer authority and the town council, and behind the scenes prior to that.
Everywhere.
We approved a gravel walkway from Owen Bell Park to 550 Hartford Pike. They were looking at going for a paved area but that was gonna be a nightmare with snow removal and whatnot, so a walkway, gravel, so in the summertime it'll be okay, the wintertime we don't have to worry about it. We discussed the ballot question for putting the warehouses and distribution centers on the November ballot, and that's not allowed. We can't do that. We could do that during our annual referendum for the budget, or we could have a special vote, but we can't put it on the November election.
And it would be totally non-binding anyhow, it would just be
Right.
an opinion.
So, the state wouldn't allow us to do it anyway. We discussed security cameras on Main Street. We had an item on the agenda discussing the relocation of the Little League field down to the Davis property at 80 Edwardson Street with relation to the sewer plant expansion. Sewer plant, we were talking with Brooklyn on the interconnection agreement, but right now that's waiting for further review. The Frito-Lay did sign an agreement that they were gonna cut back some of their flow to the maximum possible so we could spread that out to other people. The sewer authority has agreed to some small users, like in-law apartments or very small increase for industrial or commercial. They haven't figured how they're gonna work that out yet. On Westfield Ave Community Center, bids for the high vac and boiler replacement came in 3.5 million over budget.
When is that building gonna be done?
This was a totally separate entity other than what's going on there now. We also had a discussion last week with the attorneys from both sides to try to force the
Unbelievable, huh?
contractor to finish. And I'm glad I sat in on that. And there's a punch list of what's going on, and that's not my responsibility, so they're
It's no
back and
one's.
forth on that, so we'll see what happens.
It's like owning a dam.
In the Rogers, the wells are being tested for PFAS through DEEP, and we're looking for, we have a pre-application for grants and loans from the Department of Public Health, and that's under review. There was also a well testing program from the Department of Public Health outside of the Rogers area.
Well, I was gonna ask, where are we for confirmed detection now? Or do we even wanna know?
Outside of the DEP area, everything that I own is negative, is bad with DPH. So I gotta get filters, even though I'm not in the DEEP realm. So the PFAS are almost everywhere.
Can you get town?
The access road at the high school, you guys handled that today. Thank you very much. We're moving along. That was.
It needs to end too.
I appreciate your last year. It was good, and finally, I think with the town taking it over.
It can't be any worse.
Cannot
be. Yeah, it can't be any worse.
We're making progress on that. On the 250th celebration, we got a grant for $750. And I had to go to Hartford Saturday to sign the document of
For
all the towns.
$750.
Well, it's a nice ceremonial thing that we signed, a document representing the 250th anniversary of our independence and all of that. So I will do that, but it's one of those things.
Was it indoors Saturday? It was the second week in a row we did parades with the oxen. The only reason I said, well, it's 9 o'clock in the morning in Thompson. Won't be that bad yet. It was hotter than you could ever imagine at 9 o'clock in the morning. I thought we were gonna die.
So we got an authorization from the state to proceed with the Brickyard project, the pickleball court reconfiguration going from the tennis courts to pickleball. That's in the works.
Who'd have thought?
We're looking at bids to upgrade the skate park at Owen Bell. Joseph Julian started as superintendent of the sewer plant 2 weeks ago, and Anne Marie, she retired from planning and zoning. That's it. It all fit on one page.
Thank you. And not a mention of warehouses or ponds.
And you have a private well?
Yes.
Motion
And-
to adjourn. Oh, that's me.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?